night and the Gemini crew. Ooh. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another turn, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world, 'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike into the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. The date today, it is the 14th day of March 2020. It is the 15th of March 2020 if you're listening to us in Australia and New Zealand. And it is almost Sunday morning if you're in Miami, Toronto, and New York. Sit back, relax, whether you're watching us in your cabin in the woods, or your boat in the ocean, or you're streaming this on replay. Sit back, recline your chair, in your box in the sky, in your condo in the sky. Crack open a window, get some lemon water like I got. Some sparkling water. Setting the mood here for Mike in the Night. Guys, we need to start talking solutions. There's lots going on right now, especially what's happening with the whole our friend COVID here. And I think this is a test. I think this is a big test. I think this is something big. I think this is something big. And this is the first time, I think in a long time, where we're in a position right now where things have gotten out of hand from man. I think this is beyond man's help now. Unless we get together. Unless we could work together. And once in a while, just put our differences aside, just for once. So we got, wow, lots of people in the comments here. There's a little pre-show. It's almost 9 p.m. where I'm at. We have Walking Journey, Bird 718. We got DC in the house. We got Terry Tony in the house. We got Lord Humongous in the house. We got Tig Nim in the house. 26 Gunter. And then we got this streaming on other platforms here. There's one platform here in Russia that's already got 196 people watching. And then, I don't know, it's Eastern. It's got to be Russian block. And then we got these other little platforms that are starting to pick up people. 3 people, 8 people, 9 people. Picking up all over the world. And I want to thank Eduardo, who's watching this in São Paulo, Brazil. Marcus, who's watching this in Albany, New York. Levant, who's watching this in South Carolina. Okay, guys, everyone's rolling into the comment section right now, guys. Thanks for coming to Mike in the Night. So let's go over some channel news real quick before we get onto the show. And I'm on my slow computer, so guys, just bear with me here. while my main computer is getting fixed. Guys, don't forget to join the channel here. If you ever want to join the channel. Don't be shy. You can shoot me a tip on PayPal. Guys, shop Mike Martin's. I don't know who it was, but somebody went on the Mike Martin's store the other day, and they bought one of each. They bought one of each item, like every item in here. I don't know why. But someone did. If you need to message me, go ahead and message me here on Facebook. I'll give you my Facebook here if you need to message me. Any show tips, send the show tips here, guys. Please send the show tips right here. Show tips. I'm also on this Instagram thing. If you want to, I always put coming up shows and stuff. You could also send me messages on, you could also send me messages here on Instagram if you guys like to. And let me just put that link in here. All right, and I don't know why it wants me to get. I don't even know what this is. It wants me to get. I don't even know how Instagram works, guys. I really don't know how it works. So I know you follow people and people follow you. And guys, I'm also on Patreon. I want to thank. I'm still on Patreon. You know what? People are still joining Patreon. So if you guys don't like YouTube and want to support me on Patreon, please go ahead. Let's go over some important things that are here right now that we covered. This one was kind of spine chilling or bone chilling, or kind of this one right here. Counting in Illinois to confiscate guns and private property. You know for what? To combat COVID-19. Yeah, we're going to take away your private property so we can find a cure for this disease. Yeah, that's not going to fly. We got COVID spread video tonight. American national emergency. Canada shuts down parliament. COVID spreaders in Italy are facing jail time if they go against COVID-19. If they go against if people, if they're indoors, they're asked not to go out, they're self-quarantined, and if they go against it, you could face up to, I think it's 23 years in Italy. School closures now until April. Extended March break, they call it. Tom Hanks and Miss Trudeau in isolation. So I wanted to, and Italy, now they're going to start to do, like, basically a stimulus to people that have mortgages and pay, I don't know if people pay rent, but mortgages don't have to pay their mortgage. And then we got old Mike in the Night. So if you like Mike in the Night, don't be afraid to go back in time and watch a lot of our predictions. We don't believe in post-dictions here, guys. We believe in predictions. There's too many post-dicting channels out there like to post-dict things. We predict. And then we got all kinds of trends in the housing market, and come with me if you want to poop. Right here, look at all the toilet paper. The toilet paper wars all over North America and Australia and New Zealand and all over the place. And, market crashes. We've been covering market crashes, and we've been covering the rate cuts and vacant jobs. Nobody's taking jobs in the big cities because no one could afford to live in the big cities. Sorry, guys. Kind of thirsty. Why are they not fighting over food? That's probably one of the best questions someone's asked me tonight in the comments here by Farias. I can't read. But anyways, why aren't they fighting over food? Someone's saying they are fighting over food. Huh. Someone says I'm blocked. No, you're not blocked. Who said you're blocked? That is Gordon Freeman in the house. We got Mike Martins. Did you watch my video? Yeah, I watch all your videos, dude. I saw the one where you were shopping in the grocery store, and then I saw the one where you're driving home, and that's Walking Journey, guys. I'll probably get him on the show if he wants to come on to discuss the whole COVID thing and what's going on in his neck of the woods. What else we got here? All right, let's move on. Oh, yeah, it is Mike in the Night. You are with me now. Yeah, the toilet paper wars thing, that's been thrown way out of way. I got reports here from in Norway, they're fighting over canned food. From what someone's telling me over here, there was a fight over canned food. Then there was somebody else that messaged me here from Denmark, and they're telling me, "Hey, Mike, they're just fighting over basic food and basic essentials. But there's an abundance, they say. There's an abundance of food, and there's still people are just I don't know." Okay, Jake Marin, where are you, buddy? Jake, can you message me right now? Or, man, Jake, you know what, buddy? You're going to have to call me, man. Let me see if I could find you the old-fashioned way. Because what happened was my computer that I use on a regular basis, something happened to it. So now I'm kind of in a little bit of trouble right now. So all my favorites have been, I don't know. Oh, he's not under Jake. Oh, where are you? Jake, call me, buddy. Yeah, he's not under Jake. See if he could get me to give me a call here on. We'll have him as the first caller here. Yeah, Jake. No, Jake. I can't find you on Skype. Can you call me on Skype? Because my Skype for some reason has not updated. So I have a Skype from a year and a half ago, and I have people on here that I haven't spoken to in a gazillion years or haven't been on the show in ages, and it's on my other computer. Yeah, he's not here because Jake's got a lot of news. Yeah, call me on Skype, buddy. Call me on Skype. Hurry up. He's gonna call us on Skype. We got a bit of news just to cover here. Nothing too major. We already know what the heck is going on here. But we got a security specialist who goes overseas all the time. Here he is. Yo.
Mike, what's going on, man?
Nada. What are you up to?
Well, I just finishing up a remote project that I was working on.
Uh-huh.
How are you? How's everybody?
I'm doing great. And you know what? I didn't take that trip to the Philippines because I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Well, I watched your video. And I understand because you have a family to look after, so totally understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that it is safe to travel there should you feel so. I understand, like, if anybody's asking or anybody's concerned about Southeast Asia and things of that nature, Philippines is all right.
Okay.
But I understand, you have wife, you got kids, you got, prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you a little background on myself,
mm-hmm.
right? I had worked previously for Healthcare Canada Department of National Defense. Mm-hmm. And during the SARS epidemic, I'm sure you remember that very well.
As sure as my name, I remember it.
Oh, absolutely. So do you know what the secret of the SARS epidemic was?
Tell us.
Despite all of the precautions, the gowns, the masks, the screening, the temperature checks, everything, every person that got a blood test had SARS. So the idea was, and it was proven later, like any other viral infection like influenza, it circulated through the population. So it circulated through the population without restriction. This is a natural thing that's happened for thousands, millions of years. So the greatest minds had no defense for essentially influenza, the common flu, things of that nature. The coronavirus is the bat flu, is what it is, right? Now, you're a specialist, or you're definitely adapted to monitoring the economy. Now, you saw the trends in the economy before the situation happened.
That's correct.
You throw in some massive protests in many, many different countries. You have the perfect storm and all the reason you need to disable and have a reason for everyone to cancel all of this, right? So in my professional opinion, as a security professional, is the world economy has called in sick. And the coronavirus is the poster child for said situation.
Okay. Where do you see the severity level of this virus from 1 to 10?
4, 3. For
Okay.
example, in India, for example, on their roads, it is common to have 5,000 people die every single day in traffic accidents.
Right.
Would you shut down the country over that? No, they're absolutely used to this, right? And China has 1.4 billion people. They lost 3,500 to this virus, give or take. I don't know the exact number, how many people had actually passed away from coronavirus.
Can I interject here real quick?
Absolutely.
The problem is it's China. That's the problem.
Oh, 100%.
That's the problem right there. If this originated in Germany, if it originated in Canada or even Mexico, we would know what we're dealing with. Unfortunately, I believe we are so many weeks behind. We are so many weeks behind because we were taking the word on what China was telling us. And you could take that word and throw it right in the garbage because it's useless. Now, the problem is, I think a lot more things were happening in China that they did not want to release to the public. But you know it, and you know it, not only because they're communists, because they refused help from any other country or refused boots on the ground from any other country. Because what the other people would do would just simply report on what's really happening in China.
Well, the foreigners were being asked to leave. They were being shown the door before this happened.
Right.
So this was not, this was perfect timing, beyond perfect timing. So the protests that had gone on in, say, Hong Kong, but they didn't tell you that this was going on all over their country, right? What a perfect opportunity to round up anybody that didn't agree with you, essentially. Because, you know, their approaches to civil rights, liberties, protests, and disagreements with the government is usually met with the hammer, right?
Right.
And you put the silk glove on the hammer and call it coronavirus. You have yourself all the justification you would need to eliminate dissidents. Now, I'm doing security for heavy manufacturing companies. I have connections inside and out, and they're telling me that previous to this, we're talking October, November, we were hearing significant disruptions in supplies, similar to what we were having with the protesters here in Canada with the railways.
That's correct, yes.
Now, 100%. So all these $2 condos that they're selling for $500,000 out in China, they're not getting their concrete, they're not getting their reinforced steel, they're not getting their cables for electrical, they're unable to keep their real estate machine that they have, which is a monster, rolling on all 8 cylinders. And slowly, one after another, it started backfiring and failing. Have all these protests. If you ask my professional opinion, you pull the chain and you get coronavirus, essentially. So these people that run said country, this is their ace in the hole to control their population. And now what we're seeing, our Western societies over here, we've already economically cut ties with them. United States, Canada, we're selling them soybeans. Like, it's just ridiculous, right? And the money that was coming over from China to Canada, that dried up, 4 or 5 years ago now, right?
It started drying up, but what they started doing was they started to try and get their money offshore real quick. It wasn't Canada that was hit the hardest towards the end. It was actually Australia and New Zealand.
Australia, you're absolutely right.
They were hit the hardest right towards the end.
If you run through the YouTube channels and Australian folks, they're a couple chapters ahead of us over here in Canada.
Yeah.
Particularly their consumer products, their taxes, things of that nature. Because they're like I said, their problems because they're closer to the beast, right? So their problems are exacerbated by the state that they're in.
They're also, don't forget, they also rolled up the 5G out in Darwin, and they're looking at doing the social credit scores too.
Yes, absolutely. And their socialist movement has a lot deeper heels to dig in than it does, say, here, United States. United States has done a full 180, and so is the European Union. They're not doing this global experiment anymore, right?
Right.
So we're just running on cruise, and there's no gas in the tank on those scales, right? When you get into the larger scale of things, I had a boss one time. He said, "Listen, if it's not about tonnage, I don't care," because that was the scale that he operated on, right?
Right.
And he was just a middle. I was a low guy. He's a middle guy. He answered to people with ultimatum strength, right? Mm-hmm. So we're seeing the socialist society in China collapse. We're seeing the abandonment of globalization in Europe, the European Union eating itself. Great Britain.
We knew that was a disaster from the start, and the Chinese. We knew that the Chinese would collapse under their own weight over time. It was just time we had to give it, and
they're building cities for who?
They're
who are they building these cities for?
Do you know how we have a stock market and we buy and sell stocks, and we buy shares in companies? Yes. People just buy bits of air in the sky, and no one lives in those condos. But a lot of those condos, a lot of people have told me they don't live in those condos. They just keep those condos so they have a piece of real estate that they could say that they own a bit of the market. That's all it's for.
That's right. A defense. I was part of the Asian Security Defense Committee. Right. Mm-hmm. This is the version of NORCAD and other private security entities here in North America. They have an Asian equivalent. So we were having a conference in Macau. I met a very wealthy Chinese businessman. He said, "Oh, well, you're from Toronto." I said, Yeah. He said, "What is it like there?" I'm like, "Oh, it's all right. It's very expensive, though." And he goes, "Well, I own 200 condo units there." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, fantastic. Well, next time you're in Toronto, he goes, "No, I've never been." And I was like, "Well, you've never been to Toronto? You own 200 condos there." He said, "Yeah, I just need a place to park my money because the Chinese government can come and just seize it any time, right?" I'm like, "Really? Is that right?" Even he was a very wealthy businessman and a member of the Communist Party. His name, of course, I won't say online for my own safety. Mm-hmm. If he's not dead from the coronavirus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand. You don't want to name names on here, especially if high-ranking officials, you know what I'm saying? Especially when they own 200-300 condos in a country they've never been to.
Well, it gets better, Mike. On my own personal side here, when I came back to Canada working overseas in Asia for several years, I've been back here for about 2 years now. I've been totally blacklisted out of that industry. So I don't have any loyalty to said people before I mentioned. This is why I'm happy to call in and discuss said situation. A couple of years ago, forget it. I would watch you, like your videos. You'd never hear from me, right? Mm-hmm. But I've been left high and dry, and so has a whole generation of folks like myself and yourself, right? We're out in the wilderness watching from afar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But there's good news. There's a reckoning, so to speak, that will take place. It happened after the 1929 the stock market crash, the 1987 stock market crash. Not that they were only manufactured. There was high times to have after the fact, because there's good people also at the switches that are powerful, right? And they don't want to see us unnecessarily suffer, right? Not everybody that is super rich and powerful billionaires, they're not all evil, right? People that run countries, they're not all malevolent and only want this crazy James Bond globalist agenda type of thing, where you have these evil supervillains with their cats and their
right
and their you know what I mean?
Nice,
they're not all like
everywhere
that.
In every sector of everything, there's always going to be the good, right? Always somewhere
exactly.
You'll find
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So I consider the dark times that we've marched into. We've actually marched into very dark times for the past few years now. It's not all doom and gloom. There will be good times ahead, right? But this rotten, corrupt system it's eating itself, right? And as regular folks, we need to step back and just let it happen, because we'll start at the grassroots again and return to what we are really.
Right.
You're not a machine. You're a human being. You're not a number. You're not a cell phone. You know what I mean? You're on a Facebook account. This can't last, right? And like I said, there's grassroots people at very, very powerful positions that want this also, right? They'll look back at this 100 years from now as an age of reflection, if you ask my opinion.
No, it's going to be an interesting time to be alive. I could tell you that it's definitely a time where we're going to be tested here. I think we're being tested. I think there's a lot more at hand than we could, I guess, bring forward to. I think we're only 3% in the know when it comes to knowing what's really happening and what they're planning on a global scale or what they've been planning.
Yeah, if we're lucky, right? If we're lucky. I foresee a regional post-colonial era coming where we'll have our fortress over here in North America. We have Asia has to have many things to sort out. The European Union will be no more because they're just it just never worked. Look at history, right? Great Britain was the first one to walk out. That's going to fall apart. Canada will continue to rely on its natural resource economy. The unfortunately we'll have to pay financially in our housing, right? Because this is like Australia, New Zealand, all the Commonwealth countries, they'll have the same problem. We can't afford to live here anymore.
No, we can't. This is one of the very few. Well, all the Commonwealth countries are basically in the same boat. They can't afford to live in their own countries.
Even the Bahamas. I was doing a security project where I'm designing an apparatus for a limousine company in the Bahamas, right? And the cost of living in this dinky little country, they're fantastic people, by the way. Mm-hmm. This dinky little country off the coast of Florida, they can't afford to do business. So people literally sit, wake up in the morning, get ready for work, and just sit because they can't leave. You can't afford to do business. I can't afford to pay you. I can't afford fuel in the vehicle, and everyone's just playing money chicken, right? And this is like the Bahamas is like a micro New Zealand, right? Because everything that's worth more than $100,000 belongs to some foreign invisible entity, right? And it can't last, right? You can only chug on empty on cruise control for so long, right?
You're on fumes now. You're on fumes.
We all are. We all are, right? But I feel in the long run, this is going to be a healthy change. It's not going to be bad.
So you could feel, like you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it feels good.
Yes, our grandfathers and everybody that lived through the dirty 30s, essentially, right? By the 50s, it was the golden age, right? So the panic, if you're running around at Shoppers Drug Mart where I was today with gloves and a gown on trying to buy like toilet paper and stuff, like you're just making a fool out of yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like that has to stop, right? Coronavirus will circulate through the population like any other viral infection related to influenza. And you will, if you have a compromised immune system, significantly compromised immune system, you could possibly die from it. You could possibly die from measles. You could possibly die from chicken pox. You could possibly die from the flu if you're already sick.
Right.
And this is exactly what's going to happen with the rest of it, right? Do you remember the panic of SARS, right? The SARS was a mutation of the flu virus.
Right.
So when you're a
lot of people were asked to be put into quarantine, and people were panicking, and I remember that it was all over the radio, and they were creating this huge buzz over this, and but maybe it was a safety net that needed to be put in place, right? Well,
when we got the SARS epidemic, right, pandemic that hit, the previous pandemic that hit was the Spanish flu in 1918. So it was all a great experiment. They had no idea what was going to happen. They didn't know, even if it was 10% lethal and 10 people out of 1,000, 100 or whatever would get fatal to it. They had no idea.
Right.
And I was a frontline worker. I was young at the time and working for the government, and we didn't know we were going to rent hockey arenas to hold deceased persons said if SARS was 10% lethal, right? Because we're expecting 10% lethal, we're going to have serious problems.
Okay, hold on a sec. Did you see that article where they're looking at transforming big stadiums in the States right now? That if this COVID-19 gets out of control, did you see that article where they were looking
I did, absolutely.
Yeah, they were going to convert stadiums in the States
Yes.
into makeshift hospitals?
Yes. This is a standard procedure because of their capabilities of refrigeration and air conditioning. Because deceased people need to be kept under 10 degrees Celsius to resist their decomposition, right? A decomposing person is far more virulent and contagious than a living person. Hence why we naturally bury our dead or burn them, because that is like a known fact from the Stone Age that if you keep a deceased person around, everyone's going to get sick.
You know how they slow down the Black Plague?
How did they slow down the Black Plague?
By burning bodies. Because they were very Catholic, and it was Catholic tradition to bury bodies. But once they started burning bodies, it actually started to slow down the spread of the Black Plague.
Because as they were decomposing, the weak tissue is far more contagious, essentially, right? Because a person is essentially atomizing. The atoms go into the air, you breathe them in, you're going to get infected. The Black Plague, by the way, was about 70% lethal. Mm-hmm. That was in the 13th century, right?
Right.
And we were, in 2003, we were concerned about something that was 10% lethal. And they didn't know. We had no strict answers, right? And we're looking at COVID here, it has around 2 to 3%, right? From what I understand.
No, here's the problem with the 2 to 3%. We're still going off the numbers we got off of China.
Yes,
that's the
100%
problem right
true.
here.
That's
you can take whatever
true.
China tells us and throw it right in the garbage.
Oh, I would not. Yeah, I would not. If you can see their teeth, they're lying.
Right.
From a government
if
standpoint.
we go off Iran and Spain and Italy's numbers, it's more like 4 to 6%.
Which is significant. That's significant, right? Mm-hmm. And you get your regular influenza where it's 1%, right? But still, 100,000 people would die from regular flu every year, and no one panics.
Right.
So it's the level of panic that's a red flag to me.
But the deal is, here's the deal, okay? I'm not taking the side of the virus. I'm not taking the side of... not at all. The damaged lungs, the inoperable damaged lungs that you can't repair...
Yes.
You see, if you get COVID-19, let's say every year, like you get the flu,
yes,
you're not going to last many years.
Well, it's an airborne virus.
No. I'm saying it's just let's say you got the flu, let's say you get COVID-19, like you would get the flu. Let's say.
Yes.
Every year, you won't last long if you get COVID-19 every single year.
Oh, so you suspect it has a cumulative effect on the body?
Oh, it definitely does. Because a lot of people, researchers have been finding now in Italy, if the people that get reinfected, that have been infected, notice that they have strain on their heart and lung damage that's inoperable. Or it can't be fixed.
So a manufacturer that I worked for, we were discussing in a Skype call about a week ago. They had manufacturing plants in garments in Italy. Mm-hmm. And in northern Italy, there's about 300,000 Chinese workers that are essentially making Versace and other products in their factories in Italy.
Gucci wallets.
They're importing their workers. Yeah, exactly. U.S. does it. We all do it, right? After their New Year's holidays, all of these Chinese people flew back into northern Italy. These northern Italian communities are all retirement communities. So all these elderly folks that are interacting with these Chinese folks that came back recently from China, they were defenseless as it started to circulate through their population. Because you have a compromised immune system, like you're elderly, very young, have asthma, things of that nature, it's going to weaken, give you less time to fight it off, right? Compromised immune system, you start the clock on survival, so your body can identify it and learn to fight it. But if you're weak, essentially, you're going to have yourself, you're going to have a rough time, essentially, is what it is, right? You don't have the strength to fight it off.
Well, if you get reinfected, you're screwed. So
Yes, I had
it
also
doesn't
heard
matter
this
how
too.
healthy you are, you get it and you get reinfected. I actually spoke to someone in the late afternoon just before my daughter had her 1-year-old birthday party today. And before we had her birthday party, I spoke to someone who lives in just outside. He's in Hong Kong right now, and he was telling me that he got the virus and
Hmm.
he didn't know he had the virus, and it basically tested positive. He self quarantined himself 3 days, like nothing. He was watching. He was reading books. He was reading books, watching TV. He didn't even take any medication. He was eating. He was this, that, and then before you know it, they retested him again, and he was clear. And he went through him like nothing. Like it was like basically he said it was like a walk in the park.
Yeah, and he's generally healthy, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Like a younger man
yeah,
in his
33 years
prime.
old.
Exactly. And
So
this gentleman that was the infamous doctor who was bringing it up to everyone about a month ago, the poor guy who died
mhm.
uh, in China, he did not have a chance to fight off the disease because he's on the front line the whole time. He didn't get a chance to quarantine himself. By the time he was showing symptoms and doing videos, it was already too late. And he was also young, right?
Yeah.
Because the similar virus, all type of CV or corona virulent family, the problem is the mutations.
That's
Because
the
if
problem.
one is
'Cause
slightly
it's gonna
different,
mutate
yeah,
to adapt to different weathers if it has to.
exactly. So your body knows this one, but it doesn't know that one, and you have to go through the process all over again. And if you're already compromised from being previously infected, then you're just going to be compounded, essentially, right? So it can wear you down like anything else that attacks your immune system.
Yeah. And the lungs, like if we'll look it up here, I'll show you what you guys at home what I'm talking about, like what your lungs look like through. Well, I'm getting a lot of messages here on Facebook, guys. Lots of cool messages.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Like lots
Am I
of
taking up too much time?
no, you're not. Of course, no, dude. This is like, what was I looking for? Lungs, X-ray, COVID. Let's take a look at what some X-rays come up. Some X-rays from Thailand, a couple of them here from Turkey. We have some from
Yeah,
Egypt.
from what I understand, the COVID test kits that they were giving require blood and saliva. And China had moved into MRIs because they could see cloudy residue inside the lungs. And that was going to be the second stage in the quarantine stage. So essentially, you're having tissue level infection in your lungs. They would quarantine you immediately and then wait for the test kit to go through, right? And from what I understand, that was the process that they were taking. They would give you an MRI scan, which is a soft tissue density scan, right?
Well, here it is. Here, disastrous damage, irreversible damage here. So this X-ray shows the decline of a 44-year-old who died from the disease in Wuhan. So here's his lung deterioration here.
Now, I don't want to brag, right? But I'm a forensic pathologist, okay? So I'm taking a look at your, see the slides, it's A, B, C, D, E, F, right?
Yeah,
if you can just hold still for a second.
Yeah, okay, I'll leave it there.
Okay. If you look at the two internal dots right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where your aorta goes through your lungs. So it's basically your aorta is your secondary circulatory system, right?
Okay.
Now, if you look through the white stems that goes through the lung tissue, right?
On E here, on E over here on E.
No, on A.
E, right? E.
A is an alpha.
A? Okay, yeah, on A, yeah.
Now, if you see these round discolorations near the aorta here, right? This is inflammation. And it's spurring off. This is liquid that's spurring off into the soft tissue, right? I can tell. I don't need to see the other slides. I can see right here. What it is essentially pus or infected dead blood cells are pooling in the tissue, and you'll get these round nodules throughout the soft tissue, right? And the if you go to D here, it is a side view and it's a soft tissue view. You can see these nice round.
Oh, I see it here in D. I
deposits.
see it here.
Yes. these deposits are essentially where your dead white blood cells are pooling because they're fighting an infection they don't recognize and they're losing essentially, right? And it pools off like water. And you can see that definitely there's an infection that is progressing out of control when you get these pools, these pockets of dead white blood cells, essentially, right? Just like in the movie 300, when you got all the dead Persians on the wall there. It's basically what it is.
Wow.
And if you could look at the slide F, you can see a major deposit.
Right here. I see it here to the left.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, I'm not I'm not a respiratory doctor, but I am a pathologist. I definitely see this. Normally, by the time I would see this, the guy would already be deceased, unfortunately, right? Exactly. I can see you focusing on it. These are deposits that would be a serious red flag of infection.
So this starts to build up when? Like when you're... So this guy is 44 years old. He's not 85. So this guy's a 44-year-old man. So... What I mean, we don't know his underlying issues here. They're not giving us any underlying.
That's a very good question. If you can see the smaller deposits of whites, that look like veins, right? This is scar tissue. So he obviously had tuberculosis, and tuberculosis obviously damaged his lungs. Yeah, and it's scarred his lungs. So his capacity. His overall capacity would be 70%, 60%, things of that nature, right? Mm-hmm. And this man here, when the circulation would be compromised, so the white blood cells would not have the avenue of travel. So he would be his lungs were compromised. You can see definitely on slide C here, you can see a significant amount of scar tissue, where it looks like veiny white deposits near the central parts of the bottom lobes. Lungs are called lobes, right?
Yeah, I see.
Definitely he had, this is all scar tissue from previous infection. But the big white ones here at the bottom of F, these are definitely where this gentleman, where he was losing the battle, essentially.
Right here.
Yes.
And here. Holy smokes.
And you can, that's a pus, right? It's dead white blood cells.
There's no way to extract this without damaging the lungs to give it some breathing room?
If you look at the scar tissue on his lungs, I would recommend that he had a lung transplant.
Oh,
but he wouldn't live through.
But what are the odds of that? It takes years to find a match.
Not in China, it wouldn't. But that's a whole different story, right?
Yeah, no, we're not. I know what you mean. I know where you're going with that. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. That's all. We can talk about that some other day. But I want to say the bottom three slides, the gentleman's already deceased.
Okay, so you think he's already dead here?
Yeah, definitely the bottom three slides, because the blood vessels that look like an upside down Y on E here, they're contracted. So his esophagus.
Oh, they're contracted. I see exactly what you're saying here.
Yeah. So he was not using those lungs anymore, because they're porous blood vessels. Your lungs are essentially giant porous blood vessels, and when they contract, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
That's if we were doing an autopsy on this gentleman before we dug into him, this would be the slides that we were looking at.
Okay. So it's basically, like you said, it's a respiratory virus so basically this thing, if you have severe underlying, so by looking at this, this guy already had bronchitis, so he was already battling something else.
Tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would say that he died of pneumonia. He probably drowned in his own bodily fluids, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can look at the bottom one that you're sliding down to. That is a big deposit in the base of his lungs.
Yeah, I see it here.
There's not a whole lot you could do for someone other than emergency transplant their lungs, I suppose. But he would still have the virus in him, so it would be, this is post-mortem, essentially.
Right. Huh. What does it do to the kid? Somebody's saying in the comments their kidneys are probably wrecked too. What else gets affected by this, do you think?
I would say definitely, besides your circulatory system, the direct system that would feed off of that would be your oxygen system. So you would definitely see this carried through your bloodstream, but it would not affect your dense tissues. I don't think kidneys. I definitely think lungs, possibly pancreas, and post-mortem they'd find it in your bone marrow, but it would not be going for organs. No. This is essentially it clings to your soft tissues, mainly your lungs and your membranes of your nose and your throat.
Now, which other organs start going into overdrive? Because I know people that get reinfected with this and then they end up having a heart attack. Yes.
What would happen at this point is the extra fluid that is going into your blood system, that is your saline deposits that you hold in your fat cells and your basically your emergency reserves are flooding into your bloodstream because your body's panicking. Your body panics, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if your heart is already compromised or your blood vessels, particularly your thick ones near your heart, some of them are about the width of your thumb. If there are deposits in there that are fat and cholesterol crystals, the emergency blood flow is not going to go through there, and you're going to get a cardiac infarction. And what it is, your heart backfires, and one chamber will start to die out, because one of them will not be able to process. So because your heart has 4 chambers, and when you have a heart attack, one of the chambers or 2 will easily backfire because they can't suck or they can't blow, right? Because your heart's constantly sucking blood one way and blowing it the other way.
Right.
So when you get a backfire, your heart starts to panic, and that's called a cardiac event. And then you go into an arrhythmia, and after you get an arrhythmia, your heart can't correct itself. Then you get into an arrest. When you have an arrest, that's a full-blown heart attack at this point, right? Mm-hmm. That when they take the paddles to you, what they're doing is they're trying to reset your rhythm, your arrhythmia of your heart,
right?
Because your heart's backfiring and it can't reset.
Right.
So many things can cause cardiac arrest. Many things.
So now, let me ask you. So I wanted to ask you this. So, what? I know you're going to say wash your hands. I understand. But what are ways or tips or ideas that people, things that people could do to avoid catching this friggin'? I know it's like trying to stop the wind. And you can't stop this, like you said earlier. But what could we do to maybe strengthen our immune systems, or what could we do for ourselves now that we kind of got a jump on it and we're not sick yet? What can we do?
That's a very good question. No smoking ever. Okay. No cigarettes, no marijuana, no smoke aerosols of any kind. This goes after your soft tissues of your lungs. Your lungs are these gigantic membranes that absorb outside atmosphere all the time. Toxins, everything, it takes it in, has no discrimination. There's something inside your lungs called cilia, and they're like hairs, right?
Right.
And when you smoke, these hairs die. And when you're breathing in intoxicants, and throughout our lives, we live in terrible, polluted cities. Most people would get to the end of their life to have 40% or less of the cilia left, right? And the cilia are the ones that collect the toxicants. And any outside pathogens, anything that's not oxygen, they collect on these hairs and they naturally get flushed out. But they have a life cycle. That's why some of us are bald, some of us aren't, whatever, right? When the hairs die out after their 10th cycle or whatever, they don't grow back. And smoking exasperates that. So is living in a city, pollution, anything like that will affect your lungs, right?
Okay. And
your cardiovascular system, of course, exercise, right? So the healthier a person is, the better chance they have of resisting a virus.
So that's
basically the fitter and healthier that you are, the better chance that you would have.
And the more you keep away, if you do get infected, or the more you keep away from it for not being reinfected, it's obviously better, right?
It would get you sooner or later, unless you lived off in a cabin in the woods far by yourself, lived on the North Sentinel Island with these tribal folks. No one's touched them in 60,000 years. maybe you would get away. But if somebody
No.
came,
What I'm saying, if you do get it, I'm saying, and you self quarantine, right?
yes,
And you basically kind of read a few books, watch some TV shows, watch a few reruns. You know, it's not the end of the world, right? And I'm pretty sure if you could possibly
well,
not. I mean, what are the chances of getting reinfected realistically?
once you're infected once, you're immune to this. But if you're infected by a mutation of a
Oh.
disease, the process starts all over again.
Oh.
Because your body's your security team, right? And if it recognizes this person walking through, I know him already. Already, he's dangerous. It'll take him out. But if he walks through with a red hat, it's not the same, right? Your body would be suspicious of him, but he's got a red hat, so he's fine. He's not on the list.
Oh.
So it starts all over again. And what happens is the virus sets up shop inside your lungs and it starts breeding and eating off the proteins and fats inside your system. He essentially lives in a giant hamburger, right? And you're the hamburger.
Okay,
right?
you made perfect sense of it. You made perfect sense now of how you would get. So if you do got it and you do pass it, I mean, the odds of you getting reinfected, unless you move to another region of the country, huh?
I would say trying to outrun a virus in a planet with 7 billion people is impossible. It is not going to happen. You need to focus on your defenses. Mm-hmm. You need to focus on your own personal health, not about trying to actually avoid it. Yeah, and right. You're washing your hands and wearing the masks and all this stuff. It is piecemeal. And what you're doing is you're buying time for your body to fight it off. Because the clock already started in October when this virus broke out and mutated from bats into people. Once that started, it's going to circulate through the population.
Right.
Like right now, as we're talking, there's 1 million people in the sky in airplanes flying around, right? There's enough, you couldn't stop it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Focus on your health.
Let's get
your
the
kids
COVID
have
numbers
asthma.
Up right now. We got the COVID numbers up right now here from the John Hopkins live chart here. So it looks like China isn't really having any more cases. And like I said, you could take what China says and throw it right in the garbage. I'm looking at huh?
This was all the perfect storm for China to get rid of all their dissidents. Mm-hmm. Right? I got a story for you that's a little bit off topic, but it's totally my grandfather who fought in the Korean War. He was there when they handed over all the Chinese prisoners to the Chinese. They did a big prisoner exchange, right? Now, the Chinese, they gave the GIs and the Allies back their prisoners, and we gave them the Chinese, right? The Chinese government, the Maoist government, they took them over the hill and shot them all because they were, quote unquote, contaminated by Western society. Mm. Do you see the mentality that we're having here?
Yeah.
They're very threatened and insecure about things that threaten and make them feel insecure. So this would be a perfect time to round up everybody that was protesting against them. Their facial recognition software and the social credit score, they would have complete lists. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? They definitely do have complete lists.
You're contaminated with coronavirus, off you go. Now, if the government here in Canada was ushering you off to the hospital, would you scream and cry and panic? Probably not. Mm-mm. Watch the videos of people in China getting ushered off to the hospital. They're fighting for their lives.
Yes, they are, and they're putting them in cages and driving them off. That's why I hate the whole communist view, the communist regime, the dictatorship, the what to do, what to wear.
It's old-fashioned. It's an old-fashioned system from a century ago. This was all invented to eliminate some royal family in Russia that wronged the trade unions. Mm-hmm. That's all communism is. They had a trade union dispute. They turned to the mafia. They had a scholar write up a manifesto, so because they didn't want to fight World War I anymore. That's all it is.
Right.
Just like Scientology. Scientology, it was a university assignment to invent a religion. And L. Ron Hubbard used to yell at these people, "Get away from me." It was an experiment in school. This is not a religion. They wouldn't listen to him. They still have a temple with his name on it and buy his cigarettes and put like this nonsense, right?
Yeah.
This is an ancient system. We have to step back back and just let it die on its own. Chinese people are fantastic. They got this old antique of a government. It's just got to run its own course.
It's got to run its course, and you know, like the lot of I have lots of Chinese friends, and my
fantastic people.
ex-girlfriend was Chinese.
Not a crack at them. Yeah, fantastic.
You know, it's the whole system, the oppression that these people go through. I hate oppressing people.
Us Europeans that are here in North America, we had the same issue. That's why we're here, right? That's why they came here. It's the same, right? There's a course that has to run, and it's running itself. These social animals, so to speak, they have a life cycle, right?
Right.
The revolution that's going on in France, that's not the first time.
No.
Crack open a history book, right? Crack open a history book.
It's happened 8 or 9 times, but you know the major one.
Exactly.
It was with the guillotine, right?
And exactly. What happened after the guillotine? You had Napoleon. Napoleon had a mandate because he was the head of the revolutionaries. Everybody that robbed and stole from us had to pay, right? And he went on a 25-year campaign and burnt Europe down because he was actually right. France was getting farmed by all these powers. Right. And he eliminated them.
Oligarchs.
Right. Exactly. And it was a life cycle that came to an end, and we're at another one. And the CV, I don't want to. You call it CV, right? The CV is just a perfect timing. It's a mask that can put it on when our money's worthless and real estate collapses. They can blame it all on this invisible microscopic organism that killed 3,000 people on a planet with 7 billion people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Perfect. Perfect. Patsy, you don't even have to sacrifice a person. Oh, it was the virus. It wrecked our dollar. And they're just capitalizing on this.
Yep. They're taking it to the next level.
Yeah. And I feel bad that we put up with it for so long.
Yeah. And we're talking about after a decade, maybe up until after 1970s, we've been putting up with this, and then it started getting stronger. Then in the 90s, it kind of broke loose a bit, and then in the 2000s, I think we lost everything. And then after 2012 fiasco, and then after now, it's been like on a very huge decline, you know.
Yes. Now I'm seeing, me being a millennial, the Generation Xers, which are in their late 40s now, early 50s, they're this a yuppie class in Toronto, and they're all millionaires because of their property they bought in the 90s, right? You know what I mean? So they bought a house for $200,000 in Hyde Park in the 90s. Now it's worth $2.5 million, and like, if you're one of these people, cash out now, sell it, and make a run for it, right? I had a few relatives and stuff. I tried to warn them in maybe 2015. I'm like, sell it while you still can, right? Because this whole paradigm, they end. Bubbles collapse.
Every
paradigms
empire comes
end.
to an end.
Exactly, but in the long run, it's healthy. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's what you do with it.
Yeah. All right, Jacob.
We can turn all this into an opportunity.
Yes, we can. We definitely can. All right, Jacob, you've been with us for 50 minutes. 50. Wow.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
No,
I didn't mean to
that's
monopolize
really good.
your
You've given
time.
us a lot of information, a lot of insight, a lot of angles, and a lot of professional look at professional information on what these lungs are, how these lungs work. Well, we know how the lungs work, but how they deteriorate and what to look at when you're looking at these X-rays and what to see. You know, I appreciate you coming on and explaining this to us.
Oh, I always have time for you, Mike.
All right. Jacob, you have yourself a good night, and we'll talk very soon. We'll have you again. Come on the show anytime you want. Anytime.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always watching, Mike, always. You just got to reach out to me, let me know. I'll be right there.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay, cheers.
Bye. That's our man, Jacob. Wow, he came on. Wow, did he have a lot of information to share with us? Wow. Lots to share with us. And Jacob's been around the block quite a few times. He's been on the He's been around the block quite a few times. He's messaging me. Sorry, Mike. I do not tend to rant. No, you're not ranting. You're telling, dude. You're not ranting. You are telling. So let's go over Zero Hedge. Some news here in Zero Hedge. No state is prepared. Mapping where hospitals will run out of bed first if COVID cases spike. President Trump tests negative for COVID. Live updates. Enterprising opportunists confronted at Costco for Lysol wife profiteering. Guys, you know, if you want to be an opportunist or you want to be an entrepreneur, why don't you like actually face the markets and actually go into retail or actually really go and take the risk instead of monopolizing off of other people's lives. People that do this kind of stuff are losers. Ooh, he made about $100,000 in sales. Good. This is why they invented the feds. To come after the IRS and audit every dime these guys made off hardworking Americans and Canadians or whoever. Audit every penny. Yeah, someone says, fantastic guest that was just on. Oh, for sure, man. We got the McChronicle saying two politicians in New York tested positive. Let's get, hey, McChronicle, are you awake, man? I know it's like really late where you are. You know, to have you on the show for maybe a 5-minute plug, just to give us a little bit of what how the markets are reacting to COVID. If you could come on and give us a little bit of a COVID discussion when you get a chance, if you can, come on and tell us how the markets are. Let's see if he picks up. Maybe his Skype is off, so.
Hey, Mike.
Evan, how are you, my brother?
Oh, not bad, man. How you doing?
I know it's like 1 o'clock in the morning where you are.
Yeah, about that. Yep.
Yeah, we'll make it brief, buddy. Okay, COVID-19 in the markets. How have the markets been reacting the last week?
Well, you've seen. I mean, we had what 2 or 3 minus 3,000, 2 or 3,000 days in the Dow. You had all the emergency rate cuts. The Bank of Canada emergency rate cut on Friday. One thing to watch: the Fed. Their meetings on Wednesday. So, I actually, believe it or not, I think they just go a full percentage point, basically almost go to zero. I mean, that's really all they have left now. But
now I need to ask you this, and I've asked you this probably 35 times on the show, but I'm going to ask you this again. Do you see negative interest rate?
What's the best way of putting this? It's not my base case still yet, but I don't think the chances are zero. Like, I put the chances right now probably, if I were to hazard a guess, I'd say between 20 to 40% right now, realistically. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the problem is too, Mike. Here's the thing. Late last year, Sweden hikes rates to get out of negative rates because they see the societal impact it was doing.
Right. That's correct. I even remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even from a base case of being zero rates, I mean, that's probably what I'm using for it. And just the uproar would be unbelievable, and the elites kind of know that now. So that's kind of where I'm basing it off of.
Mm-hmm.
Although that being said, with the odds you're kind of giving me for saying there is negative rates, I don't think I would bet against it right now.
Hi there, Evan here.
Sorry, I'm playing one of your videos here in the background to try and see your face. But,
Oh,
there you are. There you are. People are asking who's on the phone. This is the McChronicle from the city of Toronto, where it's like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning on the phone with us. People are asking. Okay, now really quick. Okay. Do you see the banks doing bail-ins?
Well, they passed a law in Canada, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago, allowing it. So if it ever hit the fan, I almost got to think in some situations it's a formality, right? Because in Canada, they've already essentially passed the laws where they're allowing it in a lot of cases, and then also I believe in Europe that is what happened also in many cases also. So yeah, I think almost it's a formality at this point. In some cases, again, I mean,
Where do you see the markets going Monday?
well, so far, I mean, the predictions are down 1,000 at the open. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm
But
going to
like I
keep an
said,
eye on the Australian markets on Sunday.
yeah, oh yeah. But still, no matter what happens Monday, you just got to keep selling strength here. That's really all there is to it.
Mm.
This ain't done by a mile, I don't think.
Do you think we're at the bottom to buy?
Not even close.
Okay, that's a good
Not
one.
even close. Because here's the thing: even in a mild recession, stocks fall about 40%, and that's in a mild recession. Like, think of the bubble we're in right now. It gets to 40, it ain't gonna stop there. I mean, for me to even consider it a bottom, it'd have to be like, for me to even consider it a bottom from the peak, it'd have to be like half of what it is now. Like,
Ooh.
this thing really has to fall.
Ooh, so like another 40 points.
Oh yeah, I mean, think of how fast and how big the rally was in 2019 and 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, right? Like the low point of 2019 is, I think, only like 5 or 10% below where we are now.
Yeah.
And I mean, mind you, it's happened in a straight line, pretty fast. People hit the sell button and quick. But this, I mean, and also I covered an article, like, you may want to look it up for yourself. It was on Bloomberg, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How we had the initial dip, and then hedge funds bought the dip at the fastest pace in 2.5 years.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't you cover that on your channel?
I covered a bit of that on my channel, yes.
Yeah.
For like a little bit, but I mean, the point being is, how many of them still haven't even been margin called yet?
Right.
So
That's the main question here.
yeah, that's the big question here. I mean, can we bounce for another day? Theoretically, we could, but you just got to keep selling strength until further notice.
Mm-hmm. All right, McChronicle, Evan, thanks for coming on for your for the economic plug on the COVID virus, and I'm going to leave a link here for everyone to subscribe to your channel, buddy.
Beauty, thanks, Mike.
Have a good night, buddy. Thanks for coming on at such a late hour.
It's okay, man. Not a problem. Please.
God bless, buddy.
Bye, Mike.
That is the McChronicle. I feel bad for bothering him. Here's his channel, guys. Please, Papa Pissed, thank you for buy a can of corn on me, Mike. Woo! Thank you, McChronicle. This is Evan, the McChronicle. I left a link in right below the super chat. Right below, you'll see the link to the McChronicle, guys. Please, if you can, please subscribe to his channel. He's got a lot of good information. I'm seeing a lot of people that do come on the channel commenting on his stuff, which is really good, that we're creating this like little underground community, you know what I'm saying? Like an mid-internet underground community. I don't know, like whatever you want to call it. But we are doing that. We are getting out there. So thank you, McChronicle, for coming on and with your wisdom and knowledge of the markets and where they're headed. And okay, so let's see if we can get G.I. Jose on the show here. All right, let's see who we got here. Oh, where's my man from Wisconsin? Let me see if I could find him here. Damn, it's gonna be hard to find anybody on this thing. Yeah, guys, here it is. Is it who's my man from Wisconsin? He said there's a lot of cases there. Is it Gunter 20? I think it's Gunter 26. Hold on. Let me see if he picks up. Hello? Hello?
Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. Is this Gunter 26?
Yes, sir.
All right, out of Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so you got something for us. You commented on a couple of videos I did. So tell us, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, people are finally starting to take it seriously. Walmart was cleaned out of toilet paper yesterday.
And we're
And
talking Wisconsin here. We're not talking like I think no offense, okay, but it's one of the least traveled to areas like in the United States, like there, Montana, unless you're hunting or you're going to go in Wisconsin, do some dairy farming or something. But of all places, you would think that would be a lot more calmer and civil, if you would say.
well, it's really happening all over the country. People are making runs. Even I have family in South Mississippi, and Walmarts are getting cleaned out down there. Other grocery stores. Like I'm from a small town of about 15,000 people, and I mean over the past few weeks, you're starting to see people slowly filling up their buggies, and finally yesterday, I guess from the news, people started taking it seriously. They cleaned out canned goods. I mean, you still have like a little bit here and there. Nobody touched the chili. But
Well, what do you mean? No one bought chili?
yeah, I guess they're worried about how much toilet paper they would need.
Oh, that reminds me of the episode of South Park when they were eating that taco that gave them chalupes, and they had blood. Remember when they pooed blood? Well, we're not going to get into that, but still. So, yeah.
Meats were cleaned out. Bacon, sausage, cheese, butter, milk. There's like 6 gallons of milk when I went with my mom today. Eggs, orange juice, yogurt.
Is this locals or is this like some U-Haul pull into town? Because we had a U-Haul pull into our town, and it was an Asian man, and he just left with like 27 shopping carts full of all of our toilet paper here in town.
I'm pretty sure it's locals. Maybe like surrounding communities. You have like little smaller towns and villages around like several hundred, or just maybe like 1,000, 2,000 people within like 15, 20 minutes of my town.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of like the only Walmart nearby, so we get a lot more than just our town. I didn't see any kind of like tractor trailers or anything like that, but the parking lots were full. I got up at 9 this morning and went to a sporting goods store, bought a little ammo, and I passed through the parking lot of another grocery store that's right by it, and it was packed full. At first, when I drove by Walmart, the parking lot looked typical for a Saturday, but then when I went later with my mom, she wasn't prepared for it.
So it's
it
like
was
Christmas or something.
full.
Like when
Yeah.
when before the internet came and you could buy stuff online, it was like Christmas when you actually had to go out and buy a physical gift.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you look at the other side of Walmart and it's untouched. All the toys and camping stuff.
G.I. Joe.
hardware. Yeah, all that's untouched. But then you go by to where like all the over-the-counter medicines, and you see soaps cleaned out, hand sanitizer, paper towels, all
Rubbing
that clean
alcohol.
stuff.
Bleach and rubbing alcohol are your best friends. You know,
Yep.
I got this tip. You go get your hand soaps that you have, the pump style hand soaps. Once it gets to halfway or a quarter down, just pour rubbing alcohol into it, shake it up, it waters it down a bit, but you know what? You could smell the alcohol in your hands like evaporating the second you start using that. It's so strong, and it's so inexpensive instead of buying those expensive sanitizers and stuff too.
Yeah, I had several bottles of alcohol. I told my parents, I was like, look, don't worry about hand sanitizer. We got plenty of soap. I've been preparing for several weeks. Every time I would go to Walmart, I'd fill my cart up with canned goods and things. People just kind of look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm just laughing to myself. Then finally, this happens, and it's like, oh, I tried telling people, but they're like, no.
You should tell them to watch Mike in the Night.
Yeah, I've been telling several people. I work part time, and I've been telling them, hey, should join the show Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hoot and a half.
Everyone's part of the show.
But our local schools are going to be shutting down for a month. They're coming up on spring break, just like the universities are on spring break right now. They're probably going to be looking at another month shut down too. My little brother's working from home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering when the big quarantine is going to finally hit. That's
Do you see martial law kicking in?
I could honestly see it. I've been telling people too, for a while everybody thought it would be Obama and that, but you see the liberal states are taking guns, like that video you posted about Chicago today. They'll confiscate your property, but it will come under Republicans and the Trump administration. I could see it.
Yeah.
Especially in like sanctuary cities and that to clamp down on rioting over there. There'll be a lot of rioting in those liberal cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, have you seen any military activity in your area? Like moving trains with military stuff on them, and you know what I'm trying to say, like suspicious military traffic?
No, nothing like that.
Nothing. No weird flyovers with military planes. Nothing.
No, but our local hospital has a helicopter. It has been flying almost nonstop lately.
Oh.
I'm just wondering what that's been about.
Okay, maybe traffic fatalities. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Wisconsin's kind of known for its drunk driving.
Okay.
So there's always quite a bit of that.
Okay. And any tips? Do you have any tips for us? Anything that maybe we could? Anything you could add to help or maybe push people in the right direction?
Nothing more than kind of what's already been said. I mean, now I like the prices on metals, but the premiums are ridiculous. I looked on APMEX. Was it yesterday? I think silver was around like $15.65 an ounce, and you could get a tube of Silver Eagles for like $3.98 using a check. And then when I checked today, seeing silver was under 15, and it had gone up to like $414 with a check. And I'm like, I wouldn't worry about trying to stack metals now. If you don't have any, worry more about food and water.
Worry about food. Food is a big deal. Forget the toilet paper. Get the food.
Yeah, you can dig a hole in the backyard and go poop and pee in it.
The problem is, okay, well then what do we say to people that live in condominiums? Like I've been bringing up condos for the last 2 months. What do we do about condos? Like people in condos, I mean, if they can't flush their toilet for 2 weeks, they're dead, right?
Yeah, right now I don't really see utilities going down unless we have like a war or something goes off. That's something else to, people need to start paying attention to, what's going on in the Middle East. There's a lot of moves going on besides the virus.
There is definitely a lot of moves going. A lot of chess pieces moving around in the Middle East.
But like people in cities, I'd say, try and plan with friends and families. Look for a way to get out. Don't just stay put. I really do feel bad for the old people though. While I was at Walmart, my mom ran into this older lady that she knew, and she just couldn't believe how everything was wiped out.
I know. There was an older guy the other day too. Yesterday. I needed to buy toilet paper for I have a store, I have my shop, right? So I needed toilet paper for the store because there was none. So I went to go buy some. I bought the last pack. And there was an old man with me. He bought the second last. So he got one and I got one. I'm like, I need this for my store, man. I got no toilet paper in my store. And he's like, yeah. He's like, and then there's other people coming in and like, they can't get anything. And they're like, I just need it for myself. I'm out. I just need it for my regular use. I don't need it to stock up on. And those are the ones that are getting hit with this now,
Yep. Well, before the store got cleaned out, I was seeing a lot more older people. In fact, I was probably maybe like the youngest person. I'm 28 years old. Mostly boomer, 60, 70-year-old age range people starting to stock up. But people kind of joke about it. I think it's taken more seriously now, though.
Yeah.
You still have people who don't believe it. They bring up this and that. Swine flu, H1N1. People don't. I don't think most people know this, but that's the same thing as the Spanish flu. They were both the same thing. That's why you didn't have a pandemic from it, because most people were already immune from it.
Right.
Bird flu is pretty deadly, so it kind of is hard to spread unless you get into like contact with birds or somebody who is sick. Ebola is still deadly. Nobody's talking about Ebola raging in Central Africa.
But the Africans have learned to live with it and close their borders and then send
Yeah.
in military to fix this. Like they take care of their like they really like you don't see Ebola coming here because or making its way here because the governments take responsibility for their countries and what's happening in their countries, and they actually do a good job when they actually shut down a country. They really shut their borders and they shut all ports of entry in and out.
And Ebola is kind of more of a cleanliness and rituals kind of thing. With Africa, they do they just don't prepare the body; they just bury it.
Stuff like that.
So it's easy for it to spread. Somewhere here, not as much, but that's part of like the psychological programming of people. We have these little diseases prop up. Even something like is like a recall for salad having like E. coli in it. People have gotten programmed to think that these things aren't a big deal. We can sit here and say, well, what is it, like 10, 20,000 people died from the flu this year. Yeah, that's still a lot of people. Most of them, though, are older, immune compromised, so it doesn't really affect people. Once it starts affecting people personally, then they really, really take interest in it.
That's correct. That's totally correct. Okay. Any last words, Gunter?
No, I'll go ahead and get off. Let somebody else come on.
You keep your eyes and ears open and let us know what's going on there in Wisconsin, eh?
Will do.
All right. God bless you.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, that's Gunter26 giving us a little bit of an insight on what's happening in Wisconsin. So last week he was on the show, everything didn't seem too much. And the week before he was on the show, no one knows about it. No one even knows what's going on. So it's starting to, I guess, get into conversation, get into discussion, media, print, if anyone still picks up a paper and read it. All right. Let's see what we got here. For stories. So we had the McChronicle on, and we had our man from Wisconsin on. So what else we got here? Pandemic stress test. COVID-19 has exposed an underlying weakness in national economies, health systems, and even political ideologies, and long vilified experts and professionals have an opportunity to regain the public's trust. I don't know. California governor issues executive order allowing the state to commandeer hotels and motels for coronavirus patients. So how bad do they think this thing's going to get? Did they find out something from China that we don't? What were the Chinese hiding all this time? What were they keeping from us? Why didn't they allow us to have boots on the ground there? What does China know that we don't? A lot. And we'll be finding out in the next 2 weeks what China wasn't telling us. Oh yeah, we will find out what China wasn't telling us. Good luck ran out because the dollars did. Attention, whatever this says, second Tesla week, nobody cares. Piece of physical gold decouples from paper golds. Large U.S. wholesalers are completely sold out of gold and all silver and are not able to replenish. This is actually a pretty big deal because now people are buying gold and silver over spot physical. Those paper certificates you get from J.P. Morgan or the paper certificates you get from a Deutsche Bank that say you have 200 ounces of silver that you bought on this day for this much an ounce, you could take that and throw that right in the garbage. Or you can leave it outside the dumpster there because that's exactly what it is. Mexico malls shutting northern border over virus spread threat. So they're thinking of closing the border in Mexico. Doug Casey says the Greater Depression is coming. More violent, more persistent. Markets fear worse now than 2008. Man who inspired VIX says. We know what the volatility markets, and we've been watching the volatility markets here on this channel. Yep, McChronicle owns Physical. We need to get, we got Lord Humongous here who sent me, hold on, where'd he go here? Where'd it go? Here we go. So Lord Humongous was making his own videos, and he said he found a spy. Man, let's get this guy on the phone. Hold on a sec. Let's get Lord Humongous on the phone here. So let's look at the video first. So, oh wow, it's cleaned out. So the clearance section there. Hold on, let's see what he got. Holy smokes.
Here's the egg section. Clear it out, clear it out, clear it out. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck, man. You can see all the deli shit's gone. Here's the meat section. Check this out.
Holy crap. I'm just astonished at how cheap the meat is. Like how cheap the walking through how cheap everything is. Holy crap.
The entire meat section is gone with the wind. Ooh.
So this is just south of Colorado in Denver. So this is our man, Lord Humongous, on the ground. Well, the chili's still there.
This is crazy, man.
Holy crap.
Like frozen section.
There's Lord Humongous there.
Tombstone pizzas are completely gone.
Oh no.
Wow, man. This is Saturday night for the Mike in the Night.
Mike in the Night.
I saw.
Who is calling? It is Steven.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good. How are you, my brother?
Good, good. Yeah, I'm on the show. Just want to let you guys know that I'm seeing the same thing happening here in Alberta.
Okay, what do you see happening there, brother?
Everything in the store is empty.
Really? Where are you? Are you close to Edmonton or Calgary?
Calgary, about an hour from Calgary.
So you're finding empty stores, empty store shelves there, and the toys and the clothing is there, but the food's gone.
Yeah, and we've got people, because I live in Canmore, Alberta.
Okay.
And we got people from Calgary driving all the way from Calgary to Canmore to come shopping here. Everything is empty in Calgary, in all the stores, all the grocery stores, and now they're cleaning out everything here in Canmore too.
Well, we're having a problem because we have a breakdown in our supply chain too. This is not going to make it any better.
All the ports are empty. Make some research and take a look at it.
Yeah,
all
we're
the
taking
ports
a look
are
at the
empty
ports
as well.
in Los Angeles, and we're looking at the ports in Bellingham, and the one in Prince George and Prince was it Prince George? Yeah, Prince George. So up northwest there in Kitimat. Sorry, in Kitimat, and we're seeing a lot of empty ports.
That's just the beginning, bud.
So what do you see happening? Are you noticing panic in people, or is everyone just pretty mellow there?
Oh, no. People, they're driving, like, dude, from all over the place. When they can see that, their stores over there is empty, they go, in so many cities around like their place. Like, man, I live like an hour and a half from Calgary. People from Calgary come over here to do some shopping, and they ravage everything. They take everything. They load their carts. Sometimes they've got 3 carts.
Wow.
Everything's empty. You got no meat, no fruit and vegetables. You got no sanitizing stuff. You got no pasta, no rice, no sugar, no flour, nothing. Everything's gone.
So the people that prepped or the people that prepared, and the news were making fun of these people a few weeks ago, if you remember one of the ones that was covered. They were making fun of these people and calling them, what do you call them, anxious or anxiety? Those were the right people. They were doing the right thing at the right time.
Exactly. The smart ones. Yeah. And people ridiculed them.
So are you prepared?
Yeah. Actually, I'm one of those people that my friends were making fun of.
Yeah, but you collect, right?
That's right. You warned out people, and then people were just making fun of me. Yeah. Tried to give people a heads up, and then people were making fun of me, and now they're like freaking out. So.
Because it gets to a point. We're gonna get to a point where someone's gonna offer you $100 for some cans of food, and you'd be like, no, I'd rather have the cans of food than $100, because $100 is completely meaningless at that point.
But I'm no kidding. It started already. Some of my friends know that I've got some stuff stashed aside, and they're bugging me. They want me to sell some stuff to them.
Wow.
3 times the price. That's refused. Yeah, I'm gonna think about my family first. Screw them. I gave people a warning before. They didn't want to listen. Screw them. I'm gonna think about my family. I've got stuff for me and my family, and that's it. It's food first, and I don't care about the money.
Yeah, money can mean, it's like being, like I said a week or 2 shows ago, I said it's like being on a desert island with $1,000 in cash, and I have the only Pepsi on the island, and we're stuck there. I'm not giving up a can of Pepsi for $1,000 I can't spend on nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So any tips you want to give us, or what?
I just wanted to give you a call to let you know what's the situation over here. I wasn't really prepared to come online, but I just wanted to give you a quick call.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, because I know you've been commenting for a long time and been part of the show for a long time. So I appreciate you giving us a call.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, then.
Cool.
Keep your eyes and ears open. Make some videos and send them to me on Skype. I'll put them up here.
Sounds good. Will do.
All right. Take care, Steph.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That's our man, Stefan. All right. Our man, Steven, or Stefan, like Stephen King, Thanks for calling in. I appreciate all. So let me get Lord Humongous and put his video back up here real quick. Let me see Lord Humongous. He made this video for Mike in the Night. Let me see if I can get him on here. Oh, we got Liam from Southeast Asia.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you, my brother? So we got Liam here from Southeast Asia to give us a download on. Did you watch that video I just put up of Lord Humongous that filmed that thing over in just outside of Denver, Colorado, with the empty shelves, the whole store?
Yeah, I've just sent you one from the UK. It's not my video, it's on YouTube, but it's a no-name channel that's uploaded the exact same thing in the UK. And my mom is in the UK, and she was on the phone to me in hysterics, like she was shocked. She said everything has been ripped bare from the supermarket in the UK also. Exactly the same as the video you just showed. All the rice is gone, all the pasta's gone, all the tinned beans, peas, vegetables, everything is gone, even the expensive stuff.
Really?
Yeah, the UK is exactly the same.
Oh man. Okay, so are they fighting over toilet paper there, or what are they doing there?
Yeah, my mom said the same about toilet paper, and I've told her, like, you don't need to be fighting over toilet paper. Have you never heard of, like, the olden days? You probably used the flannel and washed the flannel, right? It's more clean to be using water on your backside than a dry piece of paper, right?
I said this before. I have my little hose connected to my toilet. My hose.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone in Asia has that. Everyone in Asia.
I just wash my underside and then dry it with a towel.
Yeah, I don't understand why in the Western world people are like, oh, why are you doing that? It's clean, man. It's so clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's so refreshing as well.
Are you having price gougers where you are there? Are people buying stuff from like other places and trying to sell it on like social media websites and gouging people?
Okay, so as you know, I'm in Southeast Asia. So actually, where the country or the location that I'm in, the only thing that is being pumped the prices is masks. Masks and hand sanitizers are being overly priced if you can get them on the internet. The governments have tried to put restrictions. It's not doing anything.
Okay, and the masks don't do sweet f all anyway, right?
I don't. This is a thing. I don't know. Some people are saying that it doesn't do anything, and at the very least, it stops you touching your nose and your face and your mouth all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at least it can stop you touching your mouth every 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I just sent you something that's quite urgent for yourself and your family in the Philippines. Breaking news: Manila is being shut down.
Yeah, that's why we didn't take our trip. I knew this was going to happen. If I listened to what the flight travel agent was telling us when we wanted to refund our tickets, which we're not going to get a refund for, by the way, that country could be 10 feet underwater. They still wouldn't give you a refund. But anyways, the travel agent there basically, oh, that's good. You go, nothing's going to happen. And look at that. The country now, if I left, I would have left 4 days ago for this trip, and I'd be right now in lockdown.
But so, would you be in Manila or would you be in like another?
If they let
area?
us leave Manila, we would have been to a small island in the southeast part of the Philippines, like a tiny island.
I'm shocked. Like, why Manila? Like, there's only 115 cases. Is it that bad? Come on. They shut down 12 million people over 100 cases. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
There must be something more serious that they're not telling us.
Yeah.
Like 100 cases and they're shutting down 12 million people. It does not make sense. Or maybe I'm missing the point.
Yeah.
And Australia has just come out saying that everyone arriving into Australia must be self-isolated for 14 days.
Well, anywhere coming from anywhere to any place, you have to
Yeah,
self-isolate.
anyone, anywhere.
Yeah, so anywhere.
And Argentina has 12 minutes ago just come out and said they're banning entry to non-residents.
Right. Oh, Canada will do that probably in 2 years.
Yeah, and America, because of the US blocking people from Europe, everyone's stuck in immigration, and immigration doesn't know what to do, and there's like thousands of people stuck in the immigration. I sent you some pictures of that on Skype.
Okay, let me check here. I got like 1 million messages here, and let me just go to your account here real quick. Where are you? It's so like my Skype got screwed over when I had to switch computers because I'm on an old Skype. So for some reason Skype didn't update my conversations with people.
Okay.
Oh wow, there's so much stuff here. What is this? Checkpoints? Okay, is this the photo you're telling me about with the people? Hold on.
Yeah, there's like 4 pictures grouped together. There's lines of people.
Yeah, I see it here. Holy what's this? What is this? A bazaar?
It's insane. And there's no hand sanitizer. There's you got like thousands of people all basically touching arms with each other. So if anyone did actually have the flu or the virus, they'll be passing it on to everyone else.
Where's this picture you sent me? The Interagency Task Force COVID-19 checkpoint? What is this?
That's in Manila.
Okay, so this is the Philippines. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing here long lines. Wow. This is very dangerous. Here we go. You just sent it to me. Argentina has banned entry from non-residents who have traveled to a country highly affected by the coronavirus in the last 14 days. The government officially announced late Saturday, so that's right now. The ban was established. The ban was established for 30 days, according to the decree published in the official bulletin. Interesting, my friend.
Have you spoke about Iceland? Because I know that you was watching Iceland.
Yeah, no, we're watching Iceland here. I got Iceland right here. I'll throw this up right now. I was watching Iceland today, and they're moving up in numbers real fast.
Yeah. I was watching it because you mentioned last week.
156. So since last week's show, it tripled.
Yeah.
So since last week's show, the Iceland, the confirmed cases in Iceland is tripled. This is nuts.
So maybe that's why Manila's locking down, because of 100. Once you reach that 100 mark, it's on its way up, right?
Well, yeah, you got 100 people that were walking around, and I read an article earlier that people could have it in them up to 40 days without it. You know what I'm saying? So
this is the thing. What do you see is going to happen over the next few weeks to a month or two?
Well,
do you really think it's going to be? You can see that everyone's running to the supermarkets and ripping the shelves apart to get food. What's it going to be like in a month's time?
Oh God! If we can't get our distribution back on track and getting shipping in and starting to get things moving again, because right now it's at a grinding halt. And then we had these, in Canada especially, we had these blockades that didn't help. And yeah, I see the media making a big hype on this. I see the media making a big hype. And then I see a lot of right now we're already in a sense of social unrest. Okay? Socially, like discussion, like talking. We're in that social unrest. Will we see civil unrest? I don't know. How good our governments are? Would we see continuity of government? If there is some sort of civil unrest, who knows? It's really hard to predict. Things are going to double, triple, quadruple. They're just going to keep going up. I think the media is going to put a huge spin on this and a huge hype, because for the longest time they said it was nothing, and now they're coming out and saying it's something.
See, this is the thing that really annoys me, is that they were saying, "Oh, don't worry,
don't panic."
Yeah, don't panic. But like you said before in previous shows, if you was the government, you would tell people, "Don't panic. It's okay. It's just the flu, right?" That's what you're going to tell people. The thing is, we need to figure out what's really going on, what the government knows that they're not going to tell us until it's too late.
Here's the deal. The government found something out in the last week or two. They found something out. And now that they found that out, now they're closing borders and they're going crazy, because China was holding back on us for a long time now. China's numbers mean absolutely nothing. China could say, "Hey, we got 0 cases today." You know what? You could take that and throw it right in the garbage can, because it doesn't mean anything. It's Italy's cases, Iran, South Korea, Spain, Germany, France, Switzerland, United Kingdom, Norway, Sweden. It's those countries that matter now. Because now we're going to report off those countries. Now, the death ratio, according to those countries, is a lot higher than what China was.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know, man. It's just getting really crazy. I'm actually going to be flying to the UK in a week's time.
Okay.
So I'll be giving you some videos and reports from the UK. So I might be in the center of everything. So
yeah, please give us an update on what's happening there. Let us know what the situation is there with Mom and all that stuff.
And quick question: do you think they will bring a vaccine and force people to have mandatory vaccines if you want to fly?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think right now. Because
some countries are already demanding mandatory health certificates before you fly, which doesn't make sense, because you could get that health certificate and then catch it 1 second later, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't guarantee
you can get it
anything.
waiting at the lineup at the airport.
Yeah.
Right, and especially if it's laying in you for 2 to 6 weeks, like I've read with the Pentagon released a journal saying that it could be in you for 4 to 6 weeks before you see symptoms.
Yeah, yeah. And a quick thing is, it might be conspiracy theory, but something I've noticed that no one has spoke about. I don't think you've spoke about it. Did you know that the UK brought in a mandatory auto opt-in organ donor system that will come into effect on the 20th of May 2020? So every single citizen in the UK has been placed in an auto opt-in. You have to actually go in and opt yourself out into this system that your organs will be donated.
Oh, so basically you got to go somewhere to tell them to take you off a list.
Yeah. You got to tell them, I don't want to be on the list, because you've been put onto the list. Every citizen has been put onto this new list. Wow. I just think the timing is a bit strange. That this was planned, I think, about a year ago.
Well, they're going to need lung transplants for the elites.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's a bit strange that the UK leaves Europe to get full control of its country, and the UK brings in a mandatory organ donor system just in time as everyone needs organ donations. I find it maybe some people say it's conspiracy, but it's just something that I've noticed. That's all.
Yeah, no. There's nothing wrong with observing and telling, right?
Yeah, but I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel good with me that you're placed in an auto opt-in. It's not right.
No.
I don't.
What about the article I read today that they're in Illinois, they're gonna confiscate private property to help fight the coronavirus? What the hell is that?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's my last story I posted. My COVID story I posted today. That in Illinois they passed a law and gave them this person or this the governor of Illinois or a mayor of Illinois gave themselves executive order, whatever the executive order was, to allow them to stop the sale of guns, stop the sale of booze, of alcohol, and confiscate private property in all good name to stop the coronavirus.
And just something quick before I go. For those that are in Commonwealth countries that are not allowed guns or ammunition, there is actually a loophole, and you can actually have crossbows, and also you could use slingshots as a way of defending your property and yourself. So you can look at some videos on YouTube. Crossbows are way more powerful than a pellet gun, and just as powerful as a 9mm pistol. The power in some of these crossbows are insane, and they're legal. And also good old slingshots with a ball bearings. If you slung one of those in someone's stomach, they wouldn't be chasing you down the street trying to get your food, right?
Right.
So it's legal, and it's a way of defending yourself. And I think people need to look at defense. Doesn't have to be guns, but other forms are just as good.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you go. I'll go.
Well, no, I appreciate. I'm just processing everything you're telling me here, digesting it as we go here. And I appreciate you giving us that insight. Have a safe flight to England, and go with God.
Hi, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. That's our friend Liam from the Southeast Asia, who's flying to UK in a week or so. We got somebody here saying Jesus talk in the comments to stop. Guys, I pray to Jesus every day. And if we just did what he said, to love your neighbor, stop ripping people off, stop rip off interest rates, guess what? We wouldn't be in the situation we are today. Jesus is my kind of guy. The Prince of Peace. That's my guy. All right. What do we got going on here? I want to get... Lord, where the hell are you? I need to call Lord Humongous here. He got this video up for us for Mike in the Night, and I appreciate him going out of his way to get that done for us tonight. Where are you, Lord? Man, I gotta keep looking people up manually. It sucks. All right, let's give him a call.
Yo,
Lord, what's up, buddy?
what's happening? Hold on a sec. I gotta adjust my.
I'm gonna open the video you sent us again.
All right.
I love this video. This is really good.
Yeah, you cut it off at the last best part when I was talking about the Chinese spy.
Yeah, I'm gonna open that right now. Hold on. I'm gonna have it open.
Did you see it? She was in that first clip, but she had a Wuhan
a mask on. Hold on. Let me put this on. Let me put this on. Let me play it here. There she is, right there.
Yeah, and she was taking pictures of the egg section, dude.
Okay, can I give you a little bit of a theory? We talked about this earlier today. Can I tell you what I think?
Yeah, go ahead.
I already told you this, but I'm going to tell this to the people and tell me if you agree or disagree. People, obviously from China, that are living in the United States, are getting report from people that are in China of how bad this really is, and that what they're not telling the people in the West, that they're warning family members living in the U.S. and Canada or Australia to go nuts when it comes to prepare.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I think that's just part of it. That's just a portion of it. You know,
because they won't tell us. They couldn't care less about us.
Of course not, because they are loyal to the Communist Chinese Party. You know, they've been subverting North America for 35 years. Okay, either if it be through real estate deals, business deals, money laundering, using our own crap currency against us, the Federal Reserve note. I'm telling you, man, they weaponize all this stuff. It's not the Americans that are doing this stuff, man. And now China's trying to blame the U.S. for this whole virus outbreak. I think it's BS, man. I think it's one of their level 4 bioweapons. They leaked out of their flipping lab in Wuhan into the wet market. They probably injected one of those dirty ass animals they eat over there. Have you seen the videos of the kind of animals they eat? You know, a dead carcass filled with rabies would make a nice little biological delivery system. Mm-hmm. You know, people don't look at the foods they eat. You know, that's part of it. But, you know, as far as the video goes, I'm just showing you that's just one store. I saw that starting on Wednesday of this week because we go to the grocery store to get prescriptions and stuff.
Right.
They're cutting back on prescription meds. Okay, 80% comes from where now? China.
Well, I got an important question to ask. This is a very important one.
Right.
What happens if a diabetic doesn't have insulin?
They're screwed, man. Thank God I'm not insulin dependent yet.
Okay.
You know, I've been able to manage my diabetes because I have type 2. I've been able to manage it through a good diet and just taking the meds that I take, but I have neuropathy with it. So it's very difficult. It attacks the nervous system, right? So if my blood sugars are off, I start getting really shaky. Mm-hmm. I can't, and I develop pains in my feet, and they go all the way up my leg and in my hands, and I can't grip things, you know. And this is because I'm cell resistant. But I think, you know, my dad had diabetes, and he was in Vietnam, and he got sprayed with that flippin' Agent Orange. And a lot of veterans from Vietnam came down with diabetes type 2 after that. Okay, I was the first one born when he got back. I'm the oldest, so I was born in '74. He came back in '68 from Vietnam, you know, and then had me not too long later, right? So I'll do all this stuff. I mean, the biological warfare has been going on for a very long time. And these asshole mega corporations and these idiots like Bill Gates, you know, they're behind a lot of these vaccine programs. These are all biological weapons, man. A lot of this stuff, even including the pharmaceuticals they feed people these poisons for years, right? And then the medication becomes worse than the actual disease itself,
Hey,
right?
you know what? Let me throw something quick out there. I haven't seen a
Yeah.
lot of tractor trailer traffic like I usually do coming through town.
No, they've been shutting down since last year, man. Remember all we were reporting about how many trucking companies were going bankrupt and going out of business?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that affects the supply lines?
Big
I mean,
time.
come on.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
And then that affects the heavy truck industry. I mean, it's all one big cycle, and it's been breaking down a lot longer than just the last couple of weeks. Now we're seeing what's really happening, right?
Like frozen
So
section.
I just heard a report in Oregon that Safeway, right? They're another grocer. They don't even have enough drivers to keep that delivery grocery system going. So they can't keep up with the pace, right? They say they have products and stuff, but what kind of products? You know, what are they really got in there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've heard other reports that you know the U.S. won't let any cargo in from China because they fear that the cargo could have this, you know, COVID-19 on there.
I don't kind of blame him for that one. I don't blame him too much for that. You know why? Because a lot
Right.
of baggage handlers in Heathrow Airport handling baggage got COVID-19 from handling people's baggage.
Yeah. So that just goes to show you that this, whatever this biological weapon is, and I think there's two different types. I think there's a regular coronavirus, which is the common cold that's been around for a long time, right? But then they're mixing this bioweapon in certain areas to release it. You know, that's why we're seeing all this stuff pop up. Another thing was I sent you a video about a lady that has the COVID-19 here in Colorado, and she was in the Air Force, and it's in your Skype chat, but she came back from Hawaii, dude. And that other guy, Bix Weir, yeah, I don't know if you ever watch his channel. He's been saying that like the whole island of Hawaii is infected now because so many people come from Asia and Japan to like vacation there. It's a tourist destination, you know. So they don't even know how many cases are walking around, you know. And which one is the real biological weapon here? You know, what's the really bad one that all these people are dying from? You know, we just got. I think Colorado just upped its cases now to like we have like 13 or something like that have died. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to look again. But the death toll is starting to rise here, and I think the U.S. all in all has done a pretty good job at keeping it at bay for right now.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, it's not gonna matter, man. I mean, all it takes is people transferring cash.
Yep.
You know, picking up certain items at a store that somebody sneezed on, wiped their hand on, you know, grabbed a doorknob. Think about all the fast food restaurants. You know, how many people open that one entrance door to go in there and order a Big Mac?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, yeah, no, I got my preps, man. I'm oiling my weapons. You know, I got my basic base here of like, you know, my stuff, but you want to keep that on the down low. You know, you don't want to. I just tell your listeners, you know, I mean, if you're going to go shopping, man, people should be doing this stuff little bits at a time here and there, you know, and it takes years to really develop your own system, you know, and I think everybody should have a good survival manual. Seriously, get those while you still can, you know. I mean, that's one of the books that everybody should have in their emergency bug out kit, you know, in case you got to end up in the bush. You have the right tools, the basic tools that you can sustain life with. You know, that's the most important, I think. Having a good knife, like you were talking, you know, having the skills though, like, you know, you can build a shelter with some good paracord. You know, have that in your bag. Have a good first aid kit because, dude, when this thing hits the supply chain, this is where the damage is coming. You know, the doctors are not going to show up. They're not going to be in hospitals if this thing's, you know, really breaks out. That's going to all get shut down, you know, and they're not going to be much good at that point. Everybody's going to be pretty much on their own. So you know, you want to get in your small, tight groups with people that you can trust that are near you. Have a couple neighbors that you can trust, you know, and you're going to have to give out some of that trust because nobody's going to get to this thing being a lone wolf. I can tell you that right now. You know, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you're out in the wilderness and you're by yourself and you get hurt, you're dead meat, man. You're dead meat. You know, so make sure that you do stick by your family, keep close. You know, get some water purification.
I got water
Bleach.
purification tablets, and I even got thyroid blockers.
It's good to have a bottle of bleach too, because you can purify with bleach as well. But you know, if you can't boil your water, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say the electricity goes out or the grid goes down, it's going to get a lot worse, man. It's already getting bad. I think this is bad enough.
Yeah.
I mean, with this supply chain broken up and the stores closing down and no food in the grocery store, because remember I told you, I think it was last week, most of the idiots in the world think that their food grows in a grocery store.
Yeah,
you know?
actually said that like 3 shows in a row.
Yeah, well, it's the truth, though. That's how dumbed down this whole technological society has made people. They've brainwashed them subliminally, man. It's bad. It's worse than people think. I mean, I called my mom today. I was worried about her. She's one of those types of, you know, and God bless her. She puts her faith in God, but God also gave us a brain. You know, I have to tell her things to do to bug out of LA, man, because that's going to be another just pit of hell. You know,
we got we got Atta Ugrasi donating super chat $2 says you need vitamin C, vitamin D, and chaga mushroom tea.
Yeah, harden your body. You know, harden your defenses. C is it breaks down the proteins in the coronavirus. I know the weaponized version has a couple proteins where they added the HIV in there and stuff.
The HIV
that
proteins.
Bad one. Yeah, that's the one that's making these people all die around in China, and I think that's the bad ones in Italy now. You know, you can see where it's coming from, you know. But that lady from Hawaii, dude, that's a big tell. You know, the one that's recovering here in Colorado. Yeah, it's just a big tell, man.
Yeah.
You know, you have to read all this stuff because you know the dummies and the average guy, the average people out there, they're so clueless, man. I mean, really, it's sad to watch. You know, I was in the middle of a toilet paper fight on Thursday.
Whoa! You were in a toilet paper fight on Thursday?
Yeah, I wasn't fighting. I was keeping the calm and handing them out. They had one pallet, dude. They had one pallet of toilet paper, and I was handing them out.
Wow.
You know, I told people not to get all, you know, don't do this Black Friday garbage. You know what I mean?
No, it's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, it's all garbage, man. Everybody's got to remain calm. You know, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, remaining calm is, I mean,
but you have to be able to work with your basic tools. You know, there's a few tools that everybody should have. You know, like a good knife, good axe, some paracord,
nunchucks,
some water purification. They have like Catadine filters, you know, that you can pump like 80,000 gallons for, and you can re-clean them and use them again. Silver, right? Silver is a disinfectant. They used to throw that in the wells back in the old days to purify the water.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Ronald Reagan used to ship in, I don't know how much colloidal silver into the White House when he was president.
Yep. But you know, like as far as silver and the metals go, man, they're gone. They're cleared out. I think that people
dealers are having a tough time getting restock.
Yeah, especially on like the older silver, like the 90%.
Yeah,
it's gone. I mean, every store I've gone to, gone. I mean, it's and I told you that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I said, watch, and you know what's going to happen. So these bankers are smashing down the precious metals right now, right? They're just pushing the spring farther down. And when it comes to the paper game and people covering all those bogus contracts on the COMEX, you know, the physicals are going to be the new real money, man, or the old real money.
Yeah, well,
you know, that's
like I'm not gonna when I go to you and I'm not gonna say, here, give me a Bitcoin. I'll give you a Bitcoin for your pizza. You're gonna tell me to get lost. Or if I'll give you a 10-ounce bar for your pizza, then maybe we're talking business, right?
I think a 10-ounce bar, even if silver, is going to be astronomical, man. I don't think, you know, people they've shunned silver so badly that I think it's going to outperform gold this next month. like I called. You know, it's just they're just pressing the hell out of it now through the artificial price manipulation in the market. You know, people need to realize that they can't go by that artificial price that they see, you know, spot price. What a joke, man. What a flipping joke.
Absolutely.
I mean, silver should be trading right now at a minimum of $200 an ounce. So if people can get past that psychological barrier and they know what real money is, they're going to start to see the picture. They're going to start to put that part of the financial picture together. Right. You know, Raven always talks about you have to look at all the angles, all the
moving parts.
All the moving parts. And then you got to find out where they throw the wrench in those moving parts, because it's one big gigantic system of enslavement. Okay? Break out of that. Just like the internet, man.
Hold on. The article I read today, and we talked about this when I spoke to you today, right. The Illinois is looking at seizing people's private property to combat coronavirus.
Well, they're stupid. For one, even though Illinois is like a tyrannical taxation, heavy taxation state, there is still hell of a lot of gun owners there. And believe me, dude, the military or UN or some CDC or World Health, they're going to come in there and try to do what? Take people's guns? It ain't going to happen this time, bud. You know, too many Americans learned their lesson in Katrina when they sent in those National Guard dummies, which were out of oath, by the way. Okay. Me being prior National Guard Army, I would have never done that. You know that I refused to go down in the LA riots and shoot on people. I'm not going to shoot on my fellow countrymen. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to see a lot of these commanders, if they're giving those kind of orders out, it doesn't matter where it came from, man. It's going to pop off some big civil unrest, man, revolution style.
Yeah.
Americans will never, ever, 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 ever give up their rights to bear arms. It's just
now the rest of the world seeing the importance of bearing arms.
Right. They're the idiots that have been following this communistic totalitarian, globalization model for the last, 50, 60 years. And, the American government's, we have our bad elements too, right? There's bad parts in that government, and I get that part, and that's part of the self-destruction that you're going to see in the U.S. We've gotten so far away from our founding roots, the Constitution, free markets, freedom, that it's just breaking down now.
In God we trust.
In God we trust, right? Yeah, exactly. But these bankers are such assholes, right? That they mock us by putting that on the currency that they force us to use. Those pieces of worthless paper. Toilet paper is worth more than those papers.
It sure is. It sure is.
If people want to see the light, just look at how many people are paying X amount of these federal jacked up worthless pieces of paper for paper to wipe their ass with.
Yep.
Yep. So that goes to show you what's going to really be supreme at the end of this whole thing. It's going to go back to gold and silver, dude. Silver is what made America great in the first place. We've been using silver for hundreds of years, since the U.S. has been in existence.
Right.
But so, anyways, just make sure everybody gets prepared, man. I mean, but don't go crazy. There's ways.
Going crazy is not gonna help your plan.
Yeah, don't fight the animals in these markets, man. In the grocery stores or the Costco's, don't fight them.
Innovate. Buy a little hose, like those hoses that I have connected to my toilets that hang up on the wall, and when I need it, I just wash.
Those are great. You want to know even a better one though? If you want a portable version, go to the hardware store and get one of those insecticide sprayers and fill that with water. Right? It's hand pump. Now you got the pressure.
Yeah, it's
perfect. It works for if you're gonna bug out or if you got to bug out or whatever.
Yeah,
But that's just one of my ideas I'm giving for free on the Mike in the Night show.
Mike in the Night. All right. Well, thanks for the video. Make more videos for us, man.
I will, brother. I'll try.
All right. All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much, Lord Humongous, for coming on the show and giving us your insight.
All right. God bless all.
God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.
That is Lord Humongous. Okay, we got Metal World that's working, wanting to call in from Vernon, BC.
I will, brother. I'll try.
All right.
Thank
you so much. All right, I'm hearing playback here. For coming on the show and giving us your insight.
All right. God bless all.
All right, I'm getting feedback here on Metal World that I'm trying to call here. We got our man Mitch here with an interesting story. Okay, well, Victoria's calling back. Hello?
I will, brother. I'll try.
Hello?
All right.
So it's just somebody's just giving us a replay of some sort of a replay of the show here. Oh, okay, let's move on here. All right, let's see who we can move on here. Who do we got here? All right, let's get the Raven on. If he's still awake. I'm not sure if the Raven's even still awake now. Let's get Raven on the show. Raven, where are you? Man, I can't find him anymore ever since I, There he is. He's my favorite. All these guys are my favorites here.
Oh.
Raven.
How's it going?
Are
There's
you
so
ready
many
to blow up the show?
Well, there's so many people that want to call in. Metal World wants to call in. Epic View wants to
I
call
called
in.
Metal World twice.
Yeah, I'd rather see a lot of those people come on, I'm sure.
Yeah, no problem. We got a couple of new callers in tonight, for sure.
Yeah, that one guy was good there. The pathologist there. It was interesting.
Yeah, no, that guy's come on the show 5-6 times now.
Yeah.
Jacob, yeah.
It was interesting. So you saw those pictures I sent you of Walmart there?
Hold on. Let me see here.
It's the same like what Lord had on there.
Yeah, everyone's experiencing this strange phenomenon. You see, we're seeing it in our pantry aisles, but
it's a product of the fear that it started in China with their savage response to they had to do that,
Mm-hmm.
Had to be savage, had to be a communist country, had to be in between a animal market and a lab, had to be their location, had to be savage, had to be draconian, had to weld people into their condominiums. You had to be savage.
What aisle is this? Why is it completely empty?
What's that?
There's an aisle here. Is that the cereal aisle? It's completely gone.
That's the toilet paper aisle.
Wow. I really don't get this whole thing with toilet paper.
Well, I talked to the guys at the Costco, and I was watching, like, me and my buddy, we stood there for 15 minutes, and we watched them take, like, the 2 fours of water, like the bottled water. We stood there for like 15 minutes, and we just watched. It was like 6 pallets long, 6 pallets wide. It's a big area in Costco for that bottled water. And we just watched it. It was just dissolving, like, if we stood there for probably 2 hours, it would have took all the water. Couldn't believe some people, the average cart was taking 2 2-4s, but a lot of people were taking 4 2-4s. Just, yeah. And no toilet paper. They said people were sleeping in their cars at night to be the first in the morning to get the toilet paper before it was out.
Wow.
Yeah, they said they're sleeping in their cars. And I'm like, holy crap,
I know a guy once that slept in a car for Bon Jovi tickets.
Yeah, that's a little bit too, yeah. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
What band did you say I was in? Glass Tiger? Remember that wig?
Oh, no. You look like
Africa.
A guy from Toto.
That's it. Yeah, sleep in your car for Toto tickets.
Toto. Okay, so we already had you on last week discussing the end game, what their genius plan is, and blah blah blah. Now,
You know, it like when you get the bare bones of their plan, but to study the aspects of it, like to go off and study that, it's genius, man. I will study it for years. I'll look back and read articles, and as you study it, more and more comes to play. It's they got really good at what they like. Say 9/11, that's like a pee-wee hockey team. What they're doing now is beyond NHL. These guys have gotten so good at what they're doing. They spent a lot of time. You're never going to put a guy like George Bush in charge of this, never. This has to be done, even from Trump saying it's all about the economy. Remember, then they started to criticize him. Then he came out and said, no, it's about everything. That's all part of it, man. It's all this whole thing, the whole thing. It's there's a lot to look at. There are a lot of moving parts on this one.
That's a big one. This is
very well done. Very well done. It's got everybody arguing, oh, it was an accident. No, it was done on purpose. Oh, it was done at a gay bat.
No, well, my theory behind it is it was an accident that shouldn't have happened, but now they're playing it in with the music. They're just adding this extra rhythm to their song. That's all it is. They're adding it to the stew. That's all.
You think so?
I know so.
Okay. All right.
As sure as my name. As sure as my name, I know they didn't want this to happen.
I'm so confident that this was an accident. What is your evidence that this was an accident?
My gut feeling, my friend.
Mine is about, I don't know, 18,000 hours of studying these guys.
No, it's not that, Raven. I'm not doubting you.
If you study them enough and you see the criminal acts that these people do, like Clinton signing them into the World Trade Organization and NAFTA, and you watch and you read between the lines, you read every little tiny and understand every sentence these people are saying, there's no other conclusion. And I believe they're all in on it. Xi Jinping, Putin, Macron, they're all in on it. Certain levels to different.
I don't think Macron's in on it.
Oh yeah, they're all in on it. Merkel, they're in on it. Central bankers, some of the higher up, are to a degree in on it. Some were told, make as much money as you can off it, take whatever wealth you can. But the real money grab here is the power. That's the money grab, and it's also just like that Building 7, knock it down. Wipe away 4,000 ongoing Securities Commission cases. All those bankers got a clean slate. Well, wasn't that a coincidence? If we didn't have coincidences on this planet, there'd be a lot of people going to jail.
Yeah.
And Epstein wouldn't be dead.
No. but
anyway.
Okay, look. I just think they're just adding this to the stew. That's all. Yes, it's man-made. Yes.
This didn't just coincidentally come out to take the blame for everything that these guys.
I understand where you're coming from. Yes, to bring down the markets. Yes.
You know what? I was so fed up of the economy of thinking, man, when is this going to go? When is this going to go? The repo's killing it. This is killing. When's this going to go? I just sat back and said, you know what? I stopped thinking, trying to time it. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to let it go when it goes. I've prepared. I'm just going to let it go when it goes. You got like guys like Gerald Celente saying 2021 massive crash. He's one of the most accurate trends forecasters in the world. He said 2021. I said before we get out of 2021. So you don't want to pick a date, but I was saying within 24 months this thing's got to come down. It's just the numbers are there. So do we want it to come down? And all these people get to go to jail. They get to. Why did all these people collapse this world? Why did this world go into chaos? Why did everybody lose their pensions? Pensions are everything's collapsing. Everything. It's time for a virus. It's time, and it's perfect. It's executed perfectly. It's a perfect delivery system to bring down this economy into its own footprint. Just like Building 7. It's perfect. Why would you go to an ugly little war? See, I thought Soleimani was going to be one of the triggers, because I told you back in October they're bringing down the economy. I don't remember. The snowstorm. I told you 5 times on your show. They're bringing down the economy with the trade war. They're gonna use Brexit as a trigger or a war. And then that Soleimani got killed, and I said, "Here it is. Here it comes." Remember, I said, "Here it comes. Here it comes." It wasn't that. That was to put them in a different light, a light that we don't want war. We would only want good things. So when you look at the virus, say, "Hey, well, they didn't want war. Why would they want the virus? It must be a mistake. It must be an accident." No, 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 no. These guys have got real good at covering their tracks. Somebody's there with a broom sweeping up the crumbs behind them. These guys have got architects working on this for many years, and those people have really think tanked. I'd love to have sat at that table. I would love to sit there and go, "You can't do this because this guy will figure that out. But we could do this because that guy won't figure that out." One of the smartest things they did was the location where they dropped it.
This is chess on 3 levels.
Oh, it's fascinating. I'm really impressed with the way they did this. Very impressed. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
Nice.
And there's so much more to come out of it. Like I said, you're probably not going to see a presidential election. You're going to see an end to the Fed. The Fed will be gone. Trump has done nothing but bash Jerome Powell the whole time. And whenever he says something, it's a psychological end game to it. Best economy ever, best economy ever. He's ingrained that in your mind. When this economy goes down, you'll look at the virus and then you'll think about the economy and all you'll remember is best economy ever. He's put that in your head. What these people, he's been told. He was probably given The Apprentice for years just to get him ready for this. This is the big one. This is the crescendo. There ain't no going back after this. This makes 9/11 look like a joke. This is the big one. This is going to be the game changer. We're going to save this planet. We're going to stretch out our resources another 50 years. This, it has to be done. It probably has to be done.
Okay.
You know?
Well, we're going to see time is of the essence right now, and that's what we're running out of right now, because now you're looking at Italy's numbers. Italy is going to catch up to China in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So there's something going on, and there's definitely something the Chinese don't want to tell us. So, like I said, whatever China told us, you could take that and throw it right in the garbage. It doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got to wait till Italy, we got to wait till Iran, South Korea, whatever's happening in those countries, if they're allowed to remain transparent, if they're allowed to release the information to the rest of the world.
Yeah. I know they watch your show, Mike. CSIS, FBI, they all watch this show.
Yes!
Yeah. Well, I can address them. I know your game inside and out. It won't take me much more than a few weeks to figure out every single move you guys are going to make. You're going to get rid of the Fed. You're not going to have a 2020 election. There's going to be a whole bunch more moves, and there's going to be some shocking stuff that comes up that you're going to be like, wow, just as shocking as the virus was. They're going to have to come up with some shocking things. And I'm trying to project them. You're almost like fortune telling when it's the future, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, we like predictions, not post-dictions.
Yeah, you know, and time frames are never something you want to put on something, eh? You want to just let it roll out, but you don't want to put time frames on stuff.
Ada Yugosori sent another $2 super chat saying, "This is a bioweapon, not from bat soup." Well, we know that this is man-made. We definitely know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know that. We know that. It's something that got out of hand, and it's something that that's basically wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. And that, like I said, they're adding it to the stew. They're adding it to the movie, or they're just changed the whole change. You know, the whole big change. You know what I'm trying to say? They adding that change in, and they're saying, "Hey, this is perfect. Let's just add this to the soup and add it to the pile." It's like a guy in debt. He gets a call from a credit card company. He knows he's got 30 credit cards to pay. Add it on the debt. It's just add it on. It's okay. You know what I'm saying?
I really start to notice in your channel people coming towards the side that it's a bioweapon, that it's all done to knock the economy. People are really starting to get that. Like, you see it a lot. There were some original people in there. I know, like Papias and Gunther. From the start, there's a lot of people that were right in on it. And there's more in there. but they were on it right from the start. But a lot of other people, a lot more people visiting your channel, but they're right on that they're doing this on purpose. See, you're thinking that this was an accident.
No. Okay, look, this brought the economy down. I'm not going to doubt that. I never thought it would be a pandemic would have been released, but I just don't think they would have pulled the trigger on a mass pandemic. I just don't think they would have done that.
Mike, we're out of time. We're out of time. It had to be done. It's just time. There's too many things going on out there. Your countries are falling apart. You got 45% of your countries protesting, and that's picking up pace. It's falling apart. You got 11,000 scientists saying that you're not going to be here in 12 years. Okay, so they're wrong. Well, how far off are they? You know, we're unsustainable on every single level of what we do. So what do? Just keep the gas pedal pushed to the floor? You know?
Mm-hmm.
But if we do that, and it goes in the next year, there's going to be a lot of people accountable. A lot of people are going to be accountable, and we're going to be having gallows on the streets of New York and throwing bankers up there if this goes down on their watch. Now they got to get out of jail free card. That's not a coincidence. I'm done with coincidences. That's just not going to fly anymore. I'm done. No more coincidences from this day forward. None. They used up too many in the past.
No, I understand.
Yeah, and if you tell someone a lie enough times, they'll believe it. And coincidences, no, let's just use common sense. Rip it apart. There's so many angles here, and they all fall into place.
The only thing is the mass pandemic thing. Yeah, it happened. I know it's happening, and I know the reason why I think it wasn't supposed to happen is because it's very hard to control a mass pandemic. It's out of our reach as humans.
You know what?
And you know what? And when you start seeing the elites and the top echelon on top of things starting to get sick and getting tested positive, then you start to think twice whether it was an accident or whether they pulled the trigger on it.
Well, you're going to live. Like, chances are you're going to live. It's essential. Like you say, keep in control of the pandemic. As it goes here, it goes there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can shut borders. They can slow it down. And that the one thing that is essential that they keep control of
Mm-hmm.
is the mass hysteria. That's their goal, is the mass hysteria.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was broken out in China,
Mm-hmm.
because the Communist Party can beat the shit out of their people and put it on video. They can show you what they're doing to get the fear up and get it rolling, get it going, send it over here. We've got to be able to justify flicking off, the breakers on a panel.
Mm-hmm.
You have a panel with 48 breakers on it. Well, there's the NBA at the top. Flick that one off.
Mm-hmm.
Flick off the NHL, flick off airplane travel. Pretty soon there's no lights on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They have to keep the hysteria up to justify flicking off those breakers, because now they can control this as a controlled demolition by turning the thermostat down. That was all due to mass hysteria to get us, because hey, SARS, we didn't give a shit. H1N1, Zika,
Mm-hmm.
HIV. Well, HIV was a long drawn out one.
Yeah, HIV was going on since the early 80s, right? So, yeah.
Panic. We didn't panic. People are beating up each other.
When there was that HIV scare or AIDS, people were scared to touch each other for a while. I remember that. People were scared to anything, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right about that. I remember that.
I remember that. Like yesterday, it was like, wow, we can't. Like everyone was scared to dance at school dances and stuff. Then Magic Johnson got it, and then there was rumors Madonna. All these people got it. And a lot of
and now a bat got it.
Woo!
That's my gay bat theory. Yeah.
All right.
That's fun.
All right. I want to get Victoria here on the show, Metal World. She keeps messaging me and calling into the show, so let me give her a call.
I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I do believe that something's going to come out like a whistleblower. Something's going to come out more than just the Chinese saying, yeah, we think it was them during October when the military came here. I think there's going to be some evidence comes out that it's going to have to be, they're going to have to deny it. I do think something's going to come out to justify that this wasn't an accident.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see.
Anyway. We'll
see.
talk.
Only time. Time. It's all time now.
Yeah, we'll see. It's interesting.
Okay. You have. All right. We'll talk
All
soon.
right.
We'll talk like we usually do during the week too.
Sure.
Hasta
All
la
right.
vista.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Guys, that is the Raven. All right. Victoria's been trying to call into the show. So let's see what she has to say.
It's going to come out to justify that this wasn't an accident.
Hi, Mike. Are you there? Hi.
Okay.
Hi, I hear you. I hear the show in the background there talking.
Yeah, we'll see.
There's
It's
no
interesting.
echo?
Yeah, there's a massive echo. I can hear myself and the Raven talking back to each other.
That must be crazy for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Raven, you're awesome, by the way. You're real awesome.
All right, Victoria's been trying to call into the show. You have to lower the volume on your end because we're hearing us back speak.
Yeah, lowering the volume as right now. Is that too low?
Perfect. I could hear you now. I can still hear part of the show in the background. It's because you have the show playing in the background, so it's reverbing into here.
Hello?
There's a massive echo. I can hear myself and the Raven talking back to each other. Yeah. So we're just talking back to each other. Yeah.
And Raven, you're awesome, by the way.
Hello. All right, Victoria's been trying to call into the show. You have to lower the volume on your end because we're... So we're getting like some some really weird, like reverberation there. So, who else is calling here? So we got the Raven on tonight. We got quite a few people on tonight. Metal World, we can't. Something's wrong. We're getting too much reverberation from you coming back. Like a few seconds of you guys heard it. You guys heard it here. I'm not making it up. It's like this back talk. Hello.
Hi. How are you going?
Good. I can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay. See, I had to shut all of my internet browsers down to actually talk to you.
Yes, because I'm hearing the show in the background.
Yeah, I'm not far from you, right? I'm literally in Vernon, BC. God damn it.
You're like two hour drive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close. It's close, Mike. Just
He's taking if you want to do the
know.
screen thing.
Here.
So, all right. So what's going on, guys?
Well,
been dying to get on the show for the last hour. So tell us. It's all you.
No.
No. So what happened is I actually wore a mask out today.
She did.
Everybody's pretending that there's nothing going on.
And there's no panic.
And that there's nothing happening. Yet they're panic buying. Okay?
Right.
So they're filling their grocery carts with everything. And they're like, oh, everything is crazy. But they're not wearing masks. And today I decided that I would be like, Victoria. I'm going to wear a mask.
She did.
And I got literally like full on jaw drop stares. It was priceless. I was like, oh my God, this is priceless.
You can have fun in these times, Mike.
Yeah. So people are panic shopping too where you're at.
Well, we heard that people were coming home from vacations, those are the spreaders, right? I'm staying away from anyone that has a tan at this point. I'm like, stay the hell away from me if you have a tan, because you've been in it's endemic in Mexico, in this country, in that country.
So that's the word that needs to be used right now, Mike, is endemic. So, by the way, when they start testing for people anywhere, all of a sudden there's cases all over the place, and they test people randomly.
We're an hour from you, an hour and a half drive.
Yeah, it's
you
close.
Should be wearing a mask wherever you go, and I'm not gonna stop pushing that because I want people to wear masks.
Yeah.
Because it's important that we wear masks.
I get where you're coming from. I understand that. But they've already... Masks is if you are sick so you don't spread it to somebody else, right?
Exactly.
No, Mike. That's not what a mask is. Anyways, so everything the Raven said was dead on. So, if you want to... hear things that are different. So an N95 mask, which I use in my shop all the time, what that does is it has the right one is a valve in the front. And this is what I've been doing for 2 decades. And also other masks. So basically your breath comes out and all the moisture from your lungs and everything, it comes out of the mask. So if you're contagious...
I wore one for 2 hours today.
Yeah. And
in Vernon, BC, right next to you.
She did. She toughed it out. And like I've done that for like a long time because I make stuff in steel. But basically, for someone to wear a mask for even half an hour, immediately what it feels like is your face is hot. And it's difficult to wear any type of mask because your face is hot.
Well, it means you won't be out for that much longer.
Yeah.
Once you won't be out for that much longer.
Right. So then basically, I don't know. I don't even know what you want to ask about this at this point. But basically, when you wear such a mask, which I do every day in my shop, it is difficult. But if you wear one without the actual exhale valve, so maybe even have it, but the exhale valve means you're spreading it.
No. He's giving completely wrong information, by the way.
No, but you're spreading to other people.
You know what? Everybody, every single person in society right now, in Canada, in every single country on the fucking planet, should be wearing a mask.
Okay.
Everyone should be wearing a mask and gloves.
Okay. Anyways, so as far as the markets, the real story, as far as what the Raven was talking about and everyone else, is oil. It's oil. So the US dollar and everything to do with everybody, how everyone feels about themselves is about oil. The oil price, Alberta, layoffs. What's backing currencies? That's the real story. Behind coronavirus, who passes away and everything, it's actually the currencies and what is backing
well, Mike's been talking
every
about that for
currency.
Years.
Yeah, I know. Mike, you have been. What's backing every single currency on earth? China's locked down. Okay, the cases they reported is not what happened. Millions of people died. Millions.
No, they're lying. They've been lying through their teeth. And like I said on many shows, you could take what China says and throw it right in the garbage. It's useless.
Millions.
No use whatsoever.
Millions. All the children, they locked down Wuhan, they welded up buildings, they shut everyone in without food, no parental care, no anything. And then now they are starting to even clear out the buildings. That's actually the real story. Italy is now facing this. It's in our mainstream media of what this is about to be, and our own government with the National Post is ordering body bags. And in Ontario, they're looking at locking down all the ice rinks and everything for morgues to keep bodies cool.
No, he didn't hear that.
To keep the bodies
Mike,
cool.
Yeah, they're gonna take the hockey arenas and the curling rinks, and they're gonna turn them into morgues to store corpses.
That's actually real. That's real.
And it's on literally National Post.
Yeah, but that's like an emergency what do you call it? Emergency executive order that gets put into place if there is a mass pandemic or
I know, but what are we in?
Yeah, we're in a pandemic, but we're a couple of weeks away from seeing the real brunt of this, right? We're 3 weeks.
A couple of weeks away, Mike. We've been in it for fucking a month at least. We're already there. Get away.
No, I understand, but once we could get a couple of more weeks in, then we'll actually know what's really happening, because we're several weeks.
Then we'll know what when we have fucking bodies stacked 3 deep high. It's not gonna happen.
No, I understand. Okay, so she hung up on me. So we can't get numbers in because we've been following what China's been telling us for the longest time. We've been following China for the longest time, so we don't know what's going. Realistically, we don't know what we're dealing with until we get information from Italy, and what Italy starts to find out, and what Iran starts to find out. We lost a whole month and a half following what China was telling us. We lost a whole month and a half. That was a complete waste of time. So, anyways. So, yeah. Okay, so I just, yeah, anyways. Let's move on to Supreme Cannon. Let's get him on the show. Supremo, where are you? Man, I have to look up people by name here. Let's give Supreme Cannon a call to wind this show down.
Dope, are they? Oh,
hello?
Mike's on. Hello.
Yo, what's up, buddy?
Oh, hey. Yeah, I was just talking to Leaf there on the other channel. How are things?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
good.
I just had somebody get pretty upset with me there. The last caller, she was pretty upset.
Oh, who was that? Was that the lady that called in on Thursday?
No, Metal Worlds that just called in right now. She
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just heard it in the background. I was Skyping with Leaf there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's not. Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So what was she upset about?
Nothing. She was just upset that what I'm trying to explain is that China hasn't been giving us the right numbers for the last 2 months. Okay.
I agree.
We've been
completely.
we've been heavily dependent on what China's been telling us about this sickness. Now we get Italy get hit, and Iran and all these other places. These are the countries now we got to look out for to find out whether there's a breakthrough in some sort of a remedy, who's got a cure. We couldn't find if China kept holding back with us for this long, we'll never get a cure because we'll never know what we're dealing with, right?
Yeah, well, we've got labs in Winnipeg and Montreal that we know for sure are progressing towards a vaccine, or at least they're identifying what the heck the thing is. You got to know so that you can defeat it, right? That's why it's called a novel coronavirus, because it's new. It's not something people are familiar with. Right. The standard flu tests, right, influenza tests, didn't detect it. So that's, you had people that were sick, and okay, you don't have flu, you got something else, and then they find out, oh, you had something else. Okay, yeah, it's frustrating because this could be. I mean, it's obviously changing the world already, but like I've said many times, I don't know why anyone's worried about a collapse. We collapsed a long time ago.
Yeah, we collapsed
decades ago. We collapsed decades ago.
We collapsed in about 2016.
2016 or so, yeah. Well, definitely by 2008, a lot of illusions were removed, right? Yeah, the idea, well, real estate only goes up. The stock market only goes up. Over time, everything goes up. Yeah, it does. But the problem is that line that goes from the lower left to the upper right, it goes up, and it's leaving everybody underwater, right? But the papers and the radio just say, well, the economy's booming. Well, no, it's not booming if people can't get married and start families and buy homes, right? You got a problem there.
Yeah, well, we had a huge problem when the average wage earner couldn't get into any markets. Then we knew we were cooked in the housing. Now with this whole COVID thing, we don't know what we're dealing with still.
No, we don't. And you know what? I'm seeing, like I've said many times, I'm seeing rhetorical statements in the comments about this is a hoax. This is, there's probably.
I know this is real. I know this is real. I know this is happening. I know this is playing into the plans. I understand that. Yeah. I just wholeheartedly feel that that we're not being told what we should be told, and that is the problem. And having China the front runner on this thing, having China the number one front runner, is a huge issue because we lost all that time.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's the thing. Whether this thing is a hoax or not, okay? I don't think it is, Mike. I know that you don't. Whatever it is, it's not nothing. I don't believe that it's nothing, okay? But let's say for the sake of argument that it is. The bottom line is that the panic is real. Okay? The panic is very real. The economic effects of it are real. We just saw it. We've been seeing it for the last 2 weeks. We've got stores cleaned out. Next town over, the Costco, there were lineups around the block at 9:30 waiting for it to open this morning, right? So word is getting out that something bad is going on. Now, if they tell everybody to go home, you've got no choice. You got to go home.
Yes.
Right? It's simple as that. If they say you have to go home, then go home. If it's just to keep people from really panicking and freaking out, okay? This is the thing, guys. At this point in time, it doesn't matter if it's real or not. Okay? The panic is real. Are you ready? Have you gotten everything you need to go home and stay there for at least a couple of weeks? That's a simple question. It's not a matter of, okay, who launched it? Is it a bioweapon? Is it, whatever it is, okay? It's something is happening, and are you ready?
Right. Are you ready
That's
to...
all.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Our problem is we're not being informed, period.
No, we're not being informed. Or the information we're getting, it's inconsistent enough that we have suspicion. Where China's concerned, no, at this point, it's pretty obvious to me that they've screwed something up badly.
Yep.
Or you turn it around the other way. This is perfectly planned, and they lock down half their population because they're going to collapse the world economy, and then they'll be the last man standing. Right? I mean, let's face it. The West is fragile.
It's fragile.
Right? Fragile, very, very fragile. And we know that. We know that. We've known that for a long time. We've been you were warning about that trends in the housing market. How many times you talked about how overpriced and teetering everything is, and subprime this, and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
like,
no, it
this,
wasn't even
something
teetering.
was going to happen.
It wasn't teetering. It was actually bring in more foreign money. Who cares about the locals?
Yeah, I mean, where the locals are concerned, we've been in a recession for a decade because the price of housing and the price of everything has just left half the population of the country behind.
Yep.
And usually the younger and less affluent half who wants to get a start in life. That's a disaster. That's the thing. It's a disaster. It's been a recession already, bordering on a depression in every sense of the word for half of the country for 10 years. All this talk about prosperity, well, if you're willing to work and you can't find work that will pay, where you can actually afford to have the life that people have been used to having for the last 50 years, and no one's talking about it, and they refuse to acknowledge it, you've got a disaster on your hands. And I don't think even so much that it's a matter of a controlled. We have a controlled takedown going on. It's been going on. Half the country is broke.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I mean, it's a disaster. We've had an ongoing, slow-moving train wreck, well, really since the year 2000.
So,
like it's been going on for a long time. And I mean, even these Chinese that bought all these, condos, foreign money, bought all this laundered money to store their wealth in condos. Like your first caller said, one guy in China has 200 condos in Toronto. He's never even been to Toronto. Right? That's a disaster.
Exactly.
And you know what else, Mike? It's a disaster for him too, because when the economy collapses, what are they going to be worth? They're going to be worth nothing.
Nowhere near what he bought them for.
He's gonna take a 50% haircut on this wealth he stored out of the country.
Right.
That's the thing. It's going to be a disaster for everybody involved in this economy, other than the people who are shorting everything. Right? Yeah. The bottom line is whether this thing is real or not, whether it's as virulent as they say, whether it's as deadly as it could possibly be. And I'm more inclined to think you'd best assume that it is everything that they're saying. Like it's most people will recover and be fine if they get symptoms at all, but a certain percentage are going to be stone dead. from this. Okay, just assume, for the sake of argument, that that's what you're dealing with. What would you do? You'd get enough supplies to get off the street and get the hell out of the way.
That's right.
Right?
I've been saying, prepare, organize, make sure you got what you need, take care of your family. You know, if you're in the States, load up on guns, like wherever, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you do that. Do all that stuff, guys. Hopefully you already have. You know, because before the La Sabrisa came along, right, we were talking about how we were going to have some kind of financial meltdown anyway.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for eons now, and watching everything that the deregulation of the banks, how the banks became deregulated, and they took all these laws out that were meant to protect the average Joe Donuts that doesn't watch the economy like a hawk. And basically he ends up paying for this disaster that he didn't sign up for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Anthony, you're right. He won't care because his government would have taken all his money if he left it in China. Yeah, that's true. But if his butt is in China, then all they have to do is tell him to bring his money home. Then we've really got a problem, because then you're going to have thousands of condominiums in North America get dumped on the market all at once. I have a feeling that this isn't the only anchor we're going to be swimming with trying to keep afloat. You know, it's like a big, I envision this long row of dominoes made of granite and 50 feet high, and they're just wobbling, waiting for one stiff breeze. Well, I think the breeze arrived, and here we go. You know, so this is what we were waiting for. This is what we were preparing for. If you're ready, good. Chill. Make popcorn. Watch the show. You're out of the way. Okay, that's all you can do. If you know, I mean, if there is a cabal, okay, and yeah, I think there have been cabals of all kinds in history. For God's sake, the King of England had the Star Chamber at one time. You know, they're not any kind of conspiracy is not new. All right, so I'll just call it a cabal because the word gets used. I've used it, and I've actually had people ask in the comments, you know, in what context am I meaning, because I'm not being consistent. Whatever group, okay, is trying to take down the world economy and enact the Georgia Guidestones or whatever who the hell knows. I'm pretty sure that half of the stories that we get are just made up by the same people to confuse us about which way it's going, so that we have something to argue about.
Yeah.
You know, like that would make sense too, wouldn't it? Sow confusion, divide and conquer. No, it's the Illuminati. No, it's the Jesuits. You know, I mean, we're really going to get into a fist fight over it? There's no need.
No.
And there's plenty of examples in history of this kind of thing happening without all that stuff, including an epidemic, a pandemic, and a financial crash at the same time.
Right, and it's like the other caller was so upset with me. It's like, whoa. We need to know what we're dealing with. Like, yeah, there's a pandemic. Yeah, there's something happening.
Sure.
But to what effect? Like, we need more transparency here. Once we get more transparency from Italy, Iran, South Korea, Spain, Germany, France, we're going to start to get more transparency. But what I'm afraid of is are they going to be allowed to tell us once they find out what the deal is? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this is speculation with too few facts. And yeah, as you can see, emotions can get whipped up. We've all been through it. Okay, I mean, your head is just fizzing, trying to figure out all possible scenarios on what to do. And the reality is we won't know till it happens. And the best thing you can do is assume that, you know, if they're ready for some kind of monetary reset or you know, whatever it is that they have planned, well, someone's got food, right? Someone has got a plan. They might not be good people. they may not mean us well. I don't know, but we all mean each other well, right?
Yeah,
I mean, enough people
yeah.
You know.
But like again, it's just this whole lack of transparency, and what do you expect from governing bodies? Like, it is what it is. It's like trying to say that politicians don't lie. It's like we already know it comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And it's important to remember. I mean, you look at the behavior of our leaders and some of the things that they that they enact, and okay, they're either really evil or they're really, really stupid. I'm voting for the latter. Okay, because I mean, everybody knows somebody that says something with a straight face that is the most jaw-droppingly idiotic thing that you can imagine, and they honestly believe it. Right? I mean, that's the thing, and okay, maybe someone sitting listening here in TV land thinks the things coming out of my mouth are the same way. Okay, well, you know, I love you. Okay, I wish you nothing but the best, for real.
I do.
I don't want
Me
you.
too.
I don't want. Yeah.
Have any. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
look.
nice people out there. You know, like I don't want any harm to come to anybody over this. I'm not. You know, we're not enemies here. We're here to argue, and we're here to debate, and we're here to do all that and hash it out. That's what we're trying to do. Is we're the control tower trying to talk down the wounded plane to a safe landing. You know what I mean?
That's right. Or trying to get one of the passengers on the plane to land it. I've seen movies like that where they talk.
That's
down.
right. All those airport movies. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah, 3 planes in a row. You know.
Okay. Look,
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Cyrus, sorry to interrupt you, Mike. Yeah, Cyrus, you guys have not done enough research, sir. You're probably right. You're probably right. We haven't, and in most cases, yeah, we have to react to events just like everybody else. I like to think we're further ahead in the curve than, say, 90% of people. And if that's the case, the best that we can hope to do is just stay out of the way.
Okay. I have a project for you to do. I want to get Nanny 14054 they're trying to call in.
Sure.
Okay. So I have a little bit of a project for you if you could do this.
Okay.
I want you to take the infected in Italy. That's here on the COVID-19 John Hopkins map thingy here. You got the Italy numbers right there to the left, right below China. I want you to take the total recovered. And then when you get a chance, let's look at some percentages on Italy, what the death rate is, what the average. I know it helps a lot when you know the age of the person, underlying conditions, but like flat across, maybe taking Iran's infected and then taking Iran recoveries, and then look at and just trying to break down what the recovery rate is per country, so to say, per se.
Yeah. Okay. So they've got 21,000 in Italy. Recovered so far is what number you have there?
1966.
1966. Okay, so only about 5% have recovered so far.
Yeah.
So the rest are in process.
The deaths in Italy are 1,441.
So the same number, just about the same number as the recovered.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that still leaves 90% of people in the process of going through the sickness then.
Right.
Right. They're still sick. We haven't confirmed if they're going to die or if they're going to live. And go home and have some Prosecco and forget all about this, right? Yeah. Okay. So we have to wait. I mean, this thing is sweeping.
That's what I was trying to explain to the last caller. We have to wait to find out, like, to get, like, if China wasn't keeping us off, like, if China was just transparent, then we would know. Like right now, let's say China was transparent from day one, okay? Just hear me out on this, Supreme. Let's say China was on day one transparent. You know what? I think we'd be buying toilet paper and all like health products and all whatever we needed in December.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know that they covered some of it up. For sure. They definitely covered some of it up because there were officials and at least one doctor that tried to sound the alarm in early January.
So, and with them not allowing to have people on the ground and with them not allowing to have outsiders to assess the situation, then you could just take their information and throw it in the junk. It doesn't mean anything. It's Italy now, Iran and South Korea and Spain and Germany that matter right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the problem with a lot of these areas, and Italy has the oldest average age population in Europe.
Their death rate's higher than their birth rate.
Yeah, and that's probably going to continue in that regard. They lost what was it, 126 people or something in one day?
Yeah.
This week?
Yeah. That
didn't make it, you know. Yeah, no, it's terrible. And I mean, the whole country is locked down from one end to the other. You know, 1,500 mile long country is completely locked down. And New Zealand, Sunday night, is going into 2-week quarantine, the entire country. And we just got, Health Canada, I believe it was Health Canada, put out a notice today for anybody outside the country to start heading home.
Yeah.
So anybody
go to the Philippines, eh?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, yeah, you wouldn't be able to come home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be stuck there. I mean, you had a place to go, so that's good. But you're on the right side of the Pacific here anyway. Yeah, it's going to be incredibly inconvenient, but it looks like Canada is moving towards a quarantine too, at least in the built up areas.
We got Kevin Devar saying Iran's at 4.8% death rate.
Yeah.
So that's
huge. And they have a very young population.
They do.
So that's not good. Half the people are under 60. It's not. It does seem to spare certain groups, but not completely. It's not. It's too early to say. Okay, well, we're safe because we're a certain age, right, or a certain ethnicity, or a certain physical condition. Obviously, if you're immunocompromised or you have respiratory problems already, any kind of flu is got a way better chance of taking you out. So you still have to treat it in the end like you would any other kind of flu.
Yeah. So like I said, we need another 2 weeks to see what happens in the Mediterranean for us to be able to adjust and understand on a percentage threshold point of view. In 2 weeks, we'll know that China's been lying to us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Your back, your picture there, your Mike in the Night picture. When you see that picture, what do you see? You see a city at night, all lit up, right? Obviously an Asian city, and a beautiful, young, very sad-looking woman walking down the street. That's normal life in most of the world.
Yeah.
That's the world that we live in right now. Anything that brings that to an end, I'm not going to say I'm going to vote for it, but man, I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things are going to change, folks. We wanted to change. We knew they were going to change. We knew that the stupidity could not last forever. Now, whether it's stupidity or evil and it was planned all along, good God, who knows? We'll find out.
We will.
Yeah, but we're already living in a dystopia. And what we're trying to do here, the way I see it, is talk each other through it. Okay, we're all strangers in cyberspace. We've, other than a few exceptions, like I've met you personally, Mike. Consider you a friend. You know what I mean, guys? But we're all friends here because we're all fellow travelers. We're trying to talk our way through this and figure out what's going on. I don't claim to know what's going on. Some of you, you've done some deep research. You're the 1%. Because you've spent lots of time in it. And don't get me wrong, I've spent thousands of hours in this stuff myself. But there's too many conflicting stories.
There is.
So I have to reserve judgment. I'm just being honest. I don't know. One of your scenarios could play out.
Yeah.
But I think it still comes down to, for most of the people on here, whether they agree or not, what are the common denominators? What are the things that we prepare the people on this channel, our tribe, okay? How do we prepare them for what's coming and how to get through it? Is it going to be a howling wasteland, dystopian Mad Max scenario? No, I doubt it. No, who wants to take control of that? For one thing. And for another, the people themselves, when the mob loses control, they don't control anything, these people.
No.
Right? I mean, we talk about them going to their bunkers in New Zealand or their deep under military bases.
If there's no one to take out their trash, then what?
They're all getting out of the way. Well, it ain't working. A bunch of them have got this virus too. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. I mean, they're probably sabotaging each other.
Exactly. And that's why I told the Raven, all these elites start getting it, then you start to know that something went backfired somewhere somehow.
Yeah, or betrayal, backstabbing. That's what I mean, That's why I'm characterizing it as an elite civil war that's going on. It doesn't mean that it's got anything to do with saving the world, okay? Or bringing peace and making it safe for democracy or anything like that. It's a civil war among the elites of the world. And most of them right now are trying to cover their backsides. So if someone's in control of all this, don't you think they'd be sitting at their mahogany desk, rubbing their hands and laughing? Lighting up a cigar and everything. I love when a plan comes together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I know.
They seem to be scared, and some of them are getting thrown in prison now. Obviously some of them are expendable. And they didn't know that. They got thrown under the bus. I'm pretty sure Epstein didn't kill himself. But, when he wasn't their golden boy anymore, he's dead. At least he's not around anymore. We don't know what happened to him. Not really. Same with Harvey, our buddy Harvey there in Hollywood, right? All these people turning on him now.
Well, yeah, the media's gotta turn on somebody once in a while.
Yeah, 700 some Mexican cartel operating, selling drugs, human, child, and drug trafficking in the United States have been arrested since April. 250 this week have been rounded up. Okay, so whether it's one part of the elite going to war against the other, or whether there actually are some good people in the world that finally have an opportunity to start taking down some baddies, which I prefer to think, but again, we'll see. There's struggles going on behind the scenes all the time. Not just planning, not just conspiracies and coordination. There's also war going on back there, but in backstage. So maybe it will turn out that the whole thing was controlled. And I know there are plans going back hundreds of years. I know who Albert Pike is. I'm familiar with that
Isn't
stuff.
he your cousin?
Yeah, my cousin Albert. Yeah, dead a long time, but he was into some weird stuff, so we didn't talk much, But it still comes down to making yourself anti-fragile, and as much as possible, keeping in touch. We're trying to build a tribe here, guys, online, and where Metal World is concerned, I mean, we're here to help each other. And if this stuff is getting you upset or getting you angry, take a breath. Most people are good. These things that happen behind the scenes, and including not even conspiracy things, like all of the corruption in finance and in government, all of the things that people have to hide.
Stuff we could pin to people dead to rights, like right there and then, and there it is. I mean, we're not talking conspiracies. We're talking about red-handed.
Exactly, and they don't want to be caught red-handed. I mean, even Stalin, covered up his crimes because they were crimes, and there were a lot of people in the world that he did not want to know what he was doing. You know what I mean? And why is that? If they have such naked, uncontrolled power, then why are they concerned about hiding it?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. There's other powers at work here that aren't necessarily evil. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's always two sides. There's always the light, and there's always the dark side.
Yeah, but either side, when they go to war, if you're a civilian caught in the middle, you could still get squashed. So it still comes down to get your supplies, if you haven't gotten them already, despite all of our pleading, and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
That's all, and let it play out, and then make your move from there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, civilizations have collapsed before, and they've been rebuilt.
Great civilizations. We're talking about completely abandoned cities.
Yeah, and we have infrastructure everywhere. And I know that there are people on this channel that know how to build that stuff, guys. If we have to build a new world because this one actually collapses, and what do you know? It wasn't an alien invasion, and it wasn't the Illuminati. It was just stupid people being stupid again. Well, good news. We've got another couple generations to fix things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understand that. I understand the stress and the worry and all the rest of it. But please understand that we're here to talk each other through it.
That's it.
I want you all to come out of this hale and hearty and healthy and wealthy and have great lives.
That's it.
And it was always possible. It's not 1950, right? Like, some things have changed.
And
Look
it's
at
not
that.
Like we just got out of bedrock or anything that we can't improvise if we don't have toilet paper.
That's right. Yeah. We didn't fall off the turnip truck. I would say everybody here is at least in the 10% ahead of the curve, if not the 1%. So go with that. Yeah, the ones who know, help us out here.
Yeah, the ones that know and have the answers tell us.
Yeah, that's right. And you can be cryptic about it even. I mean, if you think it's too much for us to handle in 3 paragraphs, tell us what the next step is. Tell us what we should be doing. If it's hopeless, well, let's shut this down and go to the bar, guys.
Because again, and then there's that side of the coin where this could be a very, very bad thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll know in 2 weeks in Italy. If it tapers off, then we could see that when the virus multiplies through people, it could die off.
Yeah.
You've seen that when it tries to replicate many times, it dies off. And then, and if we started to see in 2 weeks from now, we'll know in Italy. And if it starts to taper off, then we know that it's going after specific targets or like, I'm not a scientist, I don't know, right? But I'm telling you, Italy, Iran, all those other countries are our keystones. These are our key countries to follow now going forward.
Yeah, their experiences should be a gift to us. They should be telling us what we need to do so that we can avoid what's happening to them. And some of it is structural.
The jump on this.
Yeah, that's right. Some of it is structural. I mean, a lot of people, there's no redundancy in the medical systems, right? Mm-hmm. It was all about efficiency. In other words, cutting costs, right? Or spending more money on administration than actual hospital beds and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's and the thing is, the governments have to be decisive because they also have to inspire confidence in their health workers, because there's a lot of people, if they had the choice, I'm sure, would just go home and not come back to work.
Yeah.
Because of the carnage, and no help because of incompetence.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's so there's no choice. They have to lock everybody down just to get a handle on it.
Right.
Was it planned and coordinated, or
it slows the infection rate down, right?
Well, obviously, that's just common sense. It's like, okay, well, this thing spreads really, really fast, and we need to get it down to an R0 of less than 1 for it to start slowing down. And if the only way to do that is to get everybody in these cities to go home and stay there, yeah, it's inconvenient. People don't like it. They're going to bitch and squawk. Okay, some of them are going to really, really lose their what, because they're not used to not having the freedom to go do whatever they want. La, 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 la. Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to the real world. Mother Nature's still out there. Everybody seems to think we've got her conquered and her laws are not a factor in our life anymore. That was never true. Mm-hmm. We've had it good for a long time, and it could be good again once we've had a proper flush of the system. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bad apples and a lot of bad money that needs to go bye-bye so we can start over fresh.
Right. That's totally right.
Yeah.
All right, Supreme, I'm going to let you go now. And the weather's going to be really good next week. Maybe if you're in the area, come by and see me.
Yeah, I'd love to. Are you going to be at home, or is the store going to be closed?
No, I'm going to be in the store next week like normal.
Okay.
It's been semi-busy, just keeping myself busy, washing my hands 13 times a day. I disinfect the store, and...
Yeah. Well, it's no problem for me to drive directly from my home to your store. So it's, I don't have to interact with anybody, and other than the people walking in the door, you don't either. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens next week if the weather's good. And
it's supposed to be 14 on Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, it'll be nice there. And if we're not all in complete lockdown by then, well, yeah, I look forward to getting together with you for a few hours.
For sure. All right, Supreme, thank you so much, and we'll be seeing each other soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, God bless everyone.
God bless, man.
Make some moves. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.
All right, that was Supreme Canyon on the channel. Let me send feedback here. Rate the app, not now. Let me call Nanny, that's been trying to call on the channel for a while now, in Australia.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. And you?
It's been a couple of weeks, a month and a half since we spoke.
Yeah,
we were discussing the fires, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And how everything's okay?
I'm doing fine. I've been self-isolating at home. I haven't been tested or anything for the virus, but I just did it just to be safe.
Right.
I haven't been attending uni because I just don't want to take the public transport to put myself at risk.
Public transport is a petri dish.
Yeah, and my university is right in the CBD, so it's right next to like the shopping centers where like a lot of people in general going to work and that sort of thing. And the cases have been rising here in Australia at the moment. Well, what has been uploaded is that there's 249 cases.
Right.
Specifically in my state of New South Wales, 134, which is a big portion of the Australian cases. Yeah, so it's been pretty
here's
bad.
the deal. That's who's been tested for it.
Yeah, the problem is what the government has been saying and the health officials. They said only people who can be tested is if they've travelled recently or have been in contact with a confirmed positive case, and who have symptoms, they're allowed to be tested. So people who, only just now recently, I hear people are voluntarily asking their GPs to test them. But before, because there's still limited test kits, they've been quite stingy on testing people. So, yeah. A lot of the cases that arrived in Australia actually came from people coming from America, like Tom Hanks, that celebrity. A lot of Australians who came back from California. I remember you made a video about a woman who came from Iceland, her holiday in Iceland, and she brought the virus here, which is not related to Asia. So it's anyone who can have the virus. It's not just Asians. I've gotten a lot of tabs here on the latest news. So last week, on last Friday, there was a student at a high school who tested positive, and what they did was the health officials, they keep going back and forth, blaming each other. They closed the school just for one day, and then there was the weekend, and then they decided to open the school again on Monday. So just the kid who was tested positive to stay at home, and the kids who came forward to say that they had in contact with that child, but everything else was like back to normal. They said they cleaned the school, but is that even an incubation period? Like, what is wrong with that? Yeah.
What about hold on? What about some of the big universities using the dorms for students coming from China to self-incubate themselves in the dorms? And there was this one girl from Adelaide that was asked to leave the dorms, but she's from Adelaide, but she's studying in Sydney and she has nowhere to go.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Maybe I just missed those articles. But what I do know is that even with my university, I keep checking my emails every day, and all the universities pretty much are open. Well, actually, I think, all of them are open. Maybe just Macquarie University, maybe they were temporarily closed. I don't know if they're open now because there was a student that did test positive. I remember in the very early stages, there was a student who lived on campus in Sydney, and that's actually the suburb next to me. So they were positive and they isolated in their dorm. It's quite disappointing because, all the schools and the unis and even daycares aren't being closed. And daycares, I don't know if you realize, but actually there's a lot of newborn babies in daycare. Like, it's really normal. Like, I walked into one once just to drop off my godbrother, and that was just, eye-opening. So that's quite concerning. And the government is treating it like, there's no human-to-human transmission. Well, they say there is, but if they're only going to test people who traveled and who have like symptoms, like those two factors, then that's kind of silly because someone who traveled could spread it to other people. Like, we know this has been happening for a while. The Australian Chief Medical Officer said it's too early to close the nation's schools. That was 3 hours ago.
Wow. Okay, but we have March break here, so it's our March spring break. You guys are going into fall, and you guys are starting to go into flu season soon.
Oh, yeah. I even had like a general flu, like just a bit of sore throat. I went to see my GP and gave me antibiotics. But it's going to be a really bad time. It's approaching winter, and just kind of looking around because I got some other tabs here. There was another student who tested positive at a different university, Sydney University. That happened, I think, that was uploaded less than an hour ago. in Queensland, a person can get a fine of $13,000 if they don't isolate and if they're tested positive, I think. I'm just trying to find it.
Okay. Italy's doing 23 years in prison.
Yeah. Okay, I just found it. So, penalty for not complying with self-isolation is about $13,000. There'll also be random police checks.
Ooh.
And, okay, so Queensland now has 61 cases of coronavirus. So New South Wales was 134 and Queensland was 61. Just going on to the next tab here. So new toilet paper twists. Now Woolworths won't let customers order loo roll to pick up after limiting shoppers to buy 1 pack each. So this was imposed, I think, about a week ago or maybe more. When people go to the actual physical supermarket, they're limited to buy 1 packet of toilet paper each. Mm-hmm. But now it's kind of all missing. So the government and even all the media, and they're all saying, "Oh, don't stock buy," but then like they're saying, "Okay, just buy online, you'll be fine, just leave it." And then now we can't even buy it online, so that's a bit of a disaster. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me go to this next tab. Seeing maybe I said it all. I'm trying to see. I don't think Australia's going to lock down anytime soon.
No, of course not.
They're
Australia's
always late.
Still playing this is nothing to worry about game.
Yeah. Okay. This last article I found, that all these articles, they've all been published in like the last 3 hours. A JetBlue passenger with coronavirus didn't admit he had a pending test. The airline banned him for life. Oh, okay. So this is not relevant to Australia. So a passenger on JetBlue flight 253 from New York City to Palm Beach, Florida, I think, learned mid-air that he had tested positive for the novel coronavirus. JetBlue has since banned the passenger from the airline for his failure to report his condition before boarding. Oh, shit. And there was 114.
This is just people not just don't care about anybody else, you know? And
there was 114 passengers on board.
It's scary. One person could pass this on easily to several hundred people an hour.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, and
everything's slow.
Why do you think? Like, I mean, I think China. I know China's been lying to us since day. I know they're lying. I know they're lying. And
oh yeah,
I'm just afraid of flu season kicking in because we're going to be heading into spring in about a week here. You're going to be heading into fall, and in about 5 weeks, you're going to be in flu season.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. Something I'm worried about is, you know how like they're saying China isn't getting any new cases.
That's a bunch of garbage.
I know how Australia is, like they're always really slow. So what I have a feeling that they're going to open the flights again from China. So I have a feeling this is going to happen. They haven't said anything, but they're going to say, okay, well, you know, it's all good. We'll just self-isolate, but then we'll still accept flights from China.
Oh,
like they're capable of doing that. I think they will. Because if they lie about something like that, you know, I don't even believe the World Health Organization. Like, even in the early January, like, they were saying, oh, don't worry, you know, kids died. But you saw that video I sent you. There was those 3 Chinese kids who were dead, and they were put into one bag. Like, one bag.
That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. And that was in a hospital.
Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. Because even in, I think it was South Australia, there was a baby that tested positive as well. So, yeah, the 3 people that died in Australia, they were elderly.
Right.
But I'm still concerned because I've sent you that footage of what's been happening in Iran. There's young people collapsing.
Yes,
they look like they're in their 20s and 30s, and doctors.
The key is underlying sicknesses. Like our first caller, I don't know, did you catch our first caller?
Oh no, I came in a bit late.
You're gonna want to go to the beginning of this show after it uploads in full. You want to listen to the first caller. He's a licensed pathologist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will do that.
He goes over the screening of the X-rays of the lungs, and he explains the lungs to us, what stages they're at, and what that guy had underlying just by looking at his lungs. He already knew he had what was it? Bronchitis, not bronchitis, or tuberculosis. Yeah, he could tell.
I think I saw that bit. Yeah, when you were showing the photos.
Yeah. So it's good to have people like this come together to give, just to collaborate on, because if you're telling us from your end it's all old people, we're starting to see this pattern happening, right?
Yeah,
So,
there's not enough cases to really see if it is really old
That's
people.
why I said another 2 more weeks. Was I wrong about that, or maybe I'm just out to lunch?
No, I'm just, like, the cases are growing so fast, like, every day.
Yeah.
It was, I think last Friday, it was less than 50. So that's pretty quick.
Well,
You know, there's more cases.
Iceland's tripled its numbers literally in a week.
Yeah. Did you pay attention to Russia? They closed their border, I think it was in January, and their cases stayed at 2 for like nearly 2 months.
Right.
And like I heard through a Russian who was listening to the news, I don't know if it's like true or not, but they told me that Russia made an effort to, when they closed the border, they made sure to extend the holiday visas of the Chinese citizens and also the international Chinese students to give them online study options. So that was very good. They were very proactive, and their cases stayed at 2. And at the moment now it's bigger because it's all coming from like Italy and Europe, so that's very hard. People can just drive through the border.
They could drive through, yes. They could drive
it'll take
13, 14 hours to get to Russia, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'll give them a pat on the back for doing that at the beginning. Peru, I heard, I think a few days ago, they shut down all their schools and public gatherings, and their cases are, I think, maybe not as high as Australia, but it was very good of them to do that because we still haven't done that.
Well, I have some good news. In Canada, they're arming people with flyers.
They can be used as masks.
Yeah, or toilet paper.
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah, they could use it for that. I mean, but yeah. But yeah, just you know what you need to do? You need to just, if you want to make your own videos and put them up here on the Skype for us, and if you ever want to, just a video outside or showing maybe a lineup somewhere, go ahead and do it. I'll put it on the show.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've been self-isolated, but if I do have to go to the shops or something, I'll take a video or photo.
Yeah.
And send it to you. I'll send it to you on Skype, right? Because I send a lot of stuff on Instagram that might be a bit like hard to filter through.
Yeah, the problem when you send me stuff on Instagram, I don't get a notification from Instagram for some weird reason. I go on and I see that I missed 13 of your messages.
Yeah. It depends on the ordering, like if you're getting a lot of messages from other people. So, yeah, really depends on your settings, maybe.
Oh,
but that's okay.
Is that your real hair in your pic?
Which one?
In your picture, someone's asking if that's your real hair.
Hair?
Yeah, I just have a picture.
On my Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's my real hair.
Oh, okay, because, all right, just people in the comments here. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not reading them at the moment because I turned off my phone so I don't get the echo effect, what happened.
The reverberation, the reverb.
Yeah, like what happened earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on an article now. It says coronavirus cases jump as France closes all cafes and other non-essential locations in call for more discipline. They closed the Louvre, including restaurants, cafes, cinemas, clubs. Total of 91 deaths were confirmed on Saturday. Grocery stores, pharmacies, banks, and other public services, including transport, will be allowed to remain open. Yeah.
That's.
I've got to mention.
So can you just reread that? How many cases in one day in France again, please? Deaths. 100.
Sorry, 91 deaths confirmed on Saturday. I'll just go on the website that's counting the cases. So Okay, because France is so high, I gotta scroll up. So there's 4,469 total cases in France.
Mm-hmm.
Total deaths is 91. Total recovered is 12. Active cases is 4,366. So when people say, "Oh, don't worry, the death rate is like so small," like, but people don't take into account that there are still active cases. Like, we need to wait until those cases finish to see whether more people die, and the people who haven't been tested yet who have it. So 300 have serious or critical symptoms from the virus. So that's not a good sign. So total cases per million population, 68.5. Switzerland really shocks me because it's a very small country. 1,375, 13 deaths. Yeah. Like,
it would be nice if they could give us the age, like some sort of a pie graph to show the age range per country, underlying, if they had underlying, in this way. I know it's a lot of data to input, but then this way we can get a clear. I mean, waiting for China to tell us anything, you might as well go outside and wait for a spaceship to land and make first contact with somebody from Alpha Centauri.
Yeah. I don't even trust. Like, they can't. They've got so many people, and things are happening so fast that when people are dying, they have to cremate them because when an infected person is dead, it puts other people at risk as well. Or like, you've seen that footage of those bodies that have been laying in the waiting room in the hospitals, and there's people who are still alive. So those people aren't being counted in the numbers.
Oh yeah, I could bet you 100 to 1. I could bet you 100 to 1. The odds, 100 to 1 odds, that a lot of people died of, in quotations, pneumonia-like symptoms.
Yeah.
But they weren't put in as the, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever symptom they had, like pre-existing symptom.
Yeah, but they don't talk that it was, you get me, right?
And something I really like that really gets on my nerves is when people, and even like the media and health officials and governments, are saying, don't worry, like, if, only at-risk groups will like suffer from this. But if you think about it, at-risk groups, like, consider the amount of people in society who have diabetes, asthma. Like, we all know someone who has that. That's not like a minority 1%. Like, a lot of people smoke as well. So just those three things.
In Europe, a lot of people smoke in Europe.
Like, in China, I think I saw like some sort of statistic that said like 40% of China had pre-diabetes, and another large proportion had just actual diabetes. So, yeah. Like, there's genetic factors in eating carb.
But what's concerning me is okay, the smoke, but then pollution plays a big part. But in northern Italy, you don't have that mass pollution. So a lot of people, it's really heavy pollution in Wuhan. It's the production capital of China. Fine, but you're in northern Italy. You don't have you got a lot of Alps, a lot of mountains, a lot of fresh air, pine trees. I don't see a lot of pollution in northern Italy myself.
Yeah, I've never been to Italy myself, but my parents did say in the south of Italy, like how you see those beautiful photos of like the water? My parents went on the beach and they realized it's full of oil. Like, and that was like more than 15 years ago. So it's worse now because people have their yachts, the boats that are putting all the pollution there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about everything else, but I wouldn't want to swim in that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hearing like theories about 5G. I don't know what to think about that.
We talked about the whole 5G tying into this. It could be obviously the wavelengths and the, what do you call it?
But Iran doesn't have 5G. Iran doesn't have 5G, I don't think.
I don't
Someone
think
correct
Iran
me if
has
I'm
3G.
wrong. Yeah, like, why are people severely affected in Iran and there's no 5G? I don't.
But I think they eat a lot healthier in Iran than they do in China. I honestly think they do. Their meat's fresh. They butcher it.
They have a lot of rice though, like in China as well.
Mm-hmm.
And breads and high carbohydrate, Middle Easterners as well, just in general. But yeah, it's not good what's going on. And there were cases like of Iranians that came to Sydney. That was about 2 weeks ago. They were the ones who brought the virus as well. So Americans, Iranians, obviously China, Singapore. Even though the cases in Singapore at the time were like less than 100, they did bring them here, like bring the virus here. So they really should have just stopped all the flights.
Well, why would they do that?
Yeah.
It's no fun.
Yeah, and it's quite crazy to realize, like, with this whole virus, the amount of people that actually travel. Like, I never even heard of Wuhan before this virus.
Me too.
And then I found out there's like 3 direct flights that arrive from Wuhan into Sydney. So I don't even know about the other like cities in Australia. And that, like, how much is that? Like 1,000 people a week?
Yep.
I don't know how many
that.
people.
1,000 people. You're being generous.
Yeah, I don't know
Try
how many
like
people.
2,600 a week.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
And because there's African swine flu as well. I nearly went to China. Look, I had a bad feeling because of like the African swine flu, and I thought, okay, like I saw on like some news thing that in China there's been too much use of antibiotics, so there's like a lot of resistance to like all these diseases, and I would have never like thought there would be this coronavirus. Like, I'm so glad I didn't go. Like, my boyfriend nearly went by himself, and I told him not to go, and he got a little bit upset that he lost money for paying for his ticket. But I'm just kind of glad that he didn't go. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. That would, and I'm glad I didn't go to the Philippines.
Yeah. Like, imagine if you went a bit earlier and then you did
I
get
was supposed
stuck.
to leave on the 9th, right? And then now they're calling Canada's calling all the people back. So I would have arrived there, stayed a day, and then have to be called back into Canada.
Yeah. On Instagram, I follow a lot of influencers. A lot of them are Chinese and from Singapore. A lot of the rich Chinese, and I'm looking at their Instagram stories. So they're very recent, like less than 24 hours. And they're all just like taking flights, like nothing's happening. They go to the French Alps, going to Maldives, wherever. They think, okay, I've got money, I can just go leave and let the virus kind of spread in my own country. But those people with the same mentality, some of them have the virus, spreading it. I saw cases in Maldives. So, Italy is full of a lot of Chinese tourists. I really think it's got to do with tourism, like this whole spread, because they go everywhere. There's like 1 million millionaires in China. I can't even count to 1 million. It would take me so long. Like, just imagine the wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, I talk so much that I'm out of breath now.
Yes. Well, I'm going to let you go because I'm falling asleep. I'm literally falling asleep. It's 12:30 here in the morning.
Okay. And happy birthday to, it was one of your children.
And my daughter's birthday, we celebrated that today. My birthday's on the 10th and hers is on the 11th.
Oh, happy birthday to both of you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I wish you guys a healthy season.
I
get through this.
really hope God hears you on this one.
Yeah, well, I think you'll be fine in Mary, like, because you have quite a large home, and you're away from the city. Because I live in a condo. I sealed off my air vents in my home, like above the bathroom. So if I have a shower, I have the door open so the steam doesn't create mold. And also for meal prepping, I did this a week ago. I cooked like lots of bacon and pork slices, so it actually shrinks and saves a lot of space. And I just put them in the freezer. Nice. Saves a lot of space instead of just having the actual packet of the meat, because there's the air and all that.
I gotta make it mandatory that I cook bacon once a day here just to get the smell in the house.
Yeah. You can also freeze eggs. So if you have like an egg carton and it's approaching the due date, you can actually crack it, put it in a bowl, just mix it slightly, not too much, like you don't want it to freeze burn, and then put it in a snaplock bag, seal all the air out. And if you seal it properly, it won't taste rubbery when you recook it. You can make scrambled eggs. Yeah, it's like when you put it in the freezer, it's like a sheet of paper. It saves so much space. That's what I did with the bacon. Yeah, so just as a tip.
All right, thank you so much.
No worries. It was great talking.
Yeah, it was
Thanks everyone for
It was
listening.
great having you on the show, and yeah, just yeah, we'll chat on Instagram.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right then.
Have
Good
a
night,
good one.
Mike.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. It's been a long show, guys. Wow, I'm tired. All right, guys, you know what to do to support the channel. Join right here. Shoot me a tip on PayPal. Shop something, Mike Martins. And go ahead and, if you can, send me the show tips here on my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, if you guys want to come on that. And thank you to my Patreon supporters. I'm growing in Patreon supporters because people refuse to go through YouTube, and I don't blame them. And this is Mike in the Night, guys. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's been a long day. It's been a long night. It's been a really long day. I worked. I had my daughter's birthday, big party, and now I'm home. So I want to thank everybody for being part of the show. I want to thank everybody for supporting the transmission, whether you're commenting in the comment section, whether you're calling into the show and giving us your input, and whatever way you contribute. I really appreciate it very much, a lot, actually. Anyways, we'll talk soon, very soon. And I'll probably put up a video maybe tomorrow, just an update on what's going down. And tomorrow I'm going to spend some time with my family. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Share this video, and we'll talk soon. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.